We on yet? I thought we was on.
We are.
My bad, kid.
We are.
We on now?
Yeah.
All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Uncouth Radio. We are here. We are on the air. I thought we was already on the air while the music was playing. That was my bad. I'm not blaming you. I'm saying that was my bad. That was my wrong. We're here. We on the air. So much to talk about because, as we said before, Donald Trump is going to give us material for 4 years, if he makes it 4 years.
You know, everybody's been saying he's going to get impeached, he's going to get assassinated, people are going to blow up America. I personally think he's going to have a heart attack.
Damn.
That's what I think. I think he's going to be so stressed that he's going to have a heart attack.
So
That's my.
So you just trying to kill him off.
I'm not trying to kill him off. It's a particular way that I think he's going to go. Oh, nobody not saying nothing about people assassinating him? Oh, somebody already got arrested or something for a threat.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he's gonna have a heart attack. I think it's gonna be too much for him. And either him and or like all his cabinet members, all them between those what do you call them that they're doing? Those hearings.
Hey, these hearings are the most entertaining hearings on cabinet members ever. Like, I literally feel like he just got the most unqualified people
Exactly.
to be with him and like him,
Yeah.
and just threw him in the fire.
Well, one of the ladies, the woman who, and I can't remember. I can't remember ever
Bessie
being.
DuBois,
I
yeah.
can't remember ever being like so like politically knowledgeable, but and looking for C-SPAN and like looking for these hearings. But one of the ladies, she is going for something with education.
She's going to be the Secretary of Education.
All right, so she's going to be the Secretary of Education. So they're talking to her about loans and Pell Grants and how she's going to do certain things for college students. This fool owns a collection company that collects debt from students. I like how is your interest so like whack? How are you supposed to be fair about giving students money and loans and grants and whatnot, and your interest is specifically in collecting debt from a collection agency that collects debt from college students who owe money that you're supposed to be giving out.
Well, the crazy thing is, if you watch the hearing, she couldn't answer, like, you're supposed to be the Secretary of Education, and she couldn't answer the question on where do you stand on the difference between growth and proficiency.
Yeah. And not only that, what they were also doing, because apparently, Elizabeth Warren said, we talked about this in my office, so I don't understand why you're not getting it. That's when she first put the bust out on. But then, at another point, the guy who said the question about growth and proficiency, he explained what it was and gave her an example, and she still didn't understand how to answer the question. So people are saying, we already know they can be confirmed because of their numbers. But I said that I think Elizabeth Warren and Bernie are being very strategic about the questions that they're asking them, because they're putting out some very specific questions and statements. So it's letting you know, hey, if this comes back to bite you, we asked them this in the confirmation hearings. They couldn't answer it. You guys confirmed them. So now what are you going to do?
And the thing I like is that Elizabeth Warren is not letting people get away with political answers.
Yeah.
She's like, no, this is a yes or no question. Is this going to be a problem? Can you protect these kids
From Donald Trump. From fake schools like Trump University.
From fake schools like Donald Trump. Well, blah, 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 they go. No, it's a yes or no, and she bring them right back to it. And so, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders are definitely like, they have an agenda, and they making a point to really show how unqualified these people really are.
Let me ask y'all, because, well, first of all, I don't even recall this much hype going on with selected cabinet members. Like, I can't even recall another hearing that went down close to this.
Well, I know because I have my TV. I don't have cable on my TV, so I have like all the regular channels. So that C-SPAN is like a random like channel 52 that nobody watches, whatever it was at the time. So they go on all the time. And even there was a point where we were getting posts that were saying overnight they're voting for this and over. So the hearings are constantly going on and they're publicizing them. I've seen them, but I think everybody has so much of a stake in the interest in what they're saying and we know that they're going to be turned up. So that's why we have CNN posting clips and people kind of sharing more. And again, like with the social media.
I think the biggest difference is that this is probably the most unqualified cabinet we have had, at least.
Right, because like these things usually seem to be like
there's no interest. We don't have an interest in them.
Ben Carson was like a deer in the headlights. And he even joked about it. He said, I was hoping you would come back, talking about Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, she's like, well, I'm back.
Yeah, and he couldn't answer like basic, like Dave said, they're not answering basic questions that you should just be able to just give regular basic answers to. And the fact that you ask someone about guns in schools and she goes, well, you know, they might need a gun for a grizzly bear.
Yeah. She really said that.
She really said that. She's like, well, I'm assuming because they have the gates to protect them from grizzly bears and they have a gun.
They might
she said that it should be allowed up to the localities to have guns in school. So that to me, I just between that and then just the clear incompetence. There not only am I noticing incompetence, I'm also noting conflicts. There are people who, like I said, voted about her, and then there's also people who have voted against certain things or have taken a stand against certain things. It's like he's specifically putting those people in the positions of things that they don't agree with and things that they have been known to turn against. So
like the Secretary of Defense, who was executive for Exxon, who worked for Russia, who also received one of the highest awards you could receive by Russia.
I feel like this nigga cabinet is Cobra Khan from G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
It's
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know when they get the corrupt people to work for shit on G.I. Joe, the old cartoon. I'm like, this is that government. It's like, you got the Secretary of Energy is going to be somebody who's against fossil fuel.
Right. That's
like,
exactly,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's exactly what I was saying. And then speaking of, they have, not only are they against, certain ones of them are against certain things that they're being appointed to, they're also against some of the things that Trump believes that he's put out there. So
they conflict with him.
So I don't understand how I don't understand how it's gonna work with so many, because one of President Obama's main things I think that that I took away from his last press conference today was he said that he told Trumpy, I'm sorry, I keep calling him Trumpy on post. I'm gonna just say Trumpy because I'm not saying president-elect, but he told him that the job is a big job and you can't do it by yourself. You need people around you. He didn't even know he needed a transition team.
Yeah.
Well, and come to find out, I watched this on a special the other day. When they start to get close to choosing another president, they have briefings with the candidates. So the candidates start having like briefings about national security.
Around a convention.
Right, around a convention. So Hillary got it all, he got it all these things to kind of make the transition easier. So the fact that he didn't realize he had to have a transition team in place, like at a certain point, is disturbing in itself. But he told him, you need a team. You need a really good team around you because you can't do everything by yourself. And we see the team that he's trying.
And that's the scary part, his team. I've always been more concerned about his team more than him, because I knew that he's going to rely on these people thinking that they have more experience or intelligence in these particular areas where they just as damn scary.
But did he think that? Like, did he think that, or did he think he was going to put people in place that he could punt and that would do what he say? Because you look at the hearing with the what's her name again?
Betsy
DeVoy. Betsy DeVoy. Like, you look at her, and I'm like, she's so inept, and you can tell. Like, I know you mentioned this before, the type of personalities he put around him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like his cabinet is even more that. Because, like, if you think about it, the personalities that Barack put in his cabinet were literally all the people who contested him hard, the people who you would think he would have beef with, great minds, great political backgrounds. Like, Joe Biden used to hold his feet to the fire.
Yeah, him and Joe Biden have one of the most
contentious
debates.
Yeah.
During the primaries in 2008.
So like that's like for Trump, that would have been him taking like
Marco
Rubio into his cap, but instead he takes Ben Carson, who was like the least of his worries during the election. But the opposite happened with Barack. Like Barack was like, okay, you was formidable. You was formidable. Like, okay, you gonna come work with me. You gonna like, you know what I'm saying? I fucked with y'all because y'all held my feet to the fire, and y'all, you know, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
I feel like that was kind of the mindset of the Obama administration in regards to the people they picked. Because the crazy thing, if you think about it, you never felt like, even if you didn't fuck with Hillary, even if you didn't fuck with Joe Biden or you left, like you never felt like they were just really
incompetent. But you know, but the thing about the major difference between President Obama, all the people you named, and Trumpy is that he is a businessman, and I think he is putting people. I think that's the way he is trying to work the administration, like if it's a business.
There have never been this many billionaires in our cabinet.
Right.
Ever.
So maybe they're
Ever.
So they're looking at it like he's looking at it
we
like
have
it's a
billionaires
business.
in our cabinet. These people are so out of touch.
Right.
With everything that goes on with normal regular people.
Elizabeth Warren asked the lady, Betsy, I think her name is, if how much money she had donated to the Republican Party over time, and then she's like, I'm not sure. She was like, well, I heard it was $200 million. Does that sound about right? She was like, yeah. $200 million donation.
So like literally, like a lot of these people bought their cabinet.
Yeah, and that's what she said. She said, so do you think that's the reason why you're sitting here?
Vince McMahon.
Yeah, his wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
like,
donated.
He's selling cabinet seats to the highest bidder. So again, this is what's funny to me, and you know, y'all, I'm sure some of y'all seen my hashtag. That's what your ass get 2017.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Like anytime something like this pop up, that's my hashtag. That's what your ass get 2017. Because all these people who voted, especially the middle America,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So because a lot of them voted for Donald Trump because he's a straight shooter, and they felt like he was gonna be a man of the people, and he was gonna change things for them. He's literally putting together a cabinet full of people who don't care about you,
any of their interests,
any of your interests. And so you know that even brings me to even more watching them fucking go crazy as they realize their dreams deferred. And it's funny to me because I'm like, he ain't even been a president yet, and y'all don't realize he got a billionaire cabinet. He's taking away Obamacare, which for some reason a lot of y'all thought was a different thing from affordable from the
well, not only Affordable Care Act, but it's also called other things in different states. Like we call it Cover California
Cover
here.
California.
So that's what we know it as.
Yeah, so different states
it's called different
called
things.
Something else.
Yeah.
So these people didn't know that, you know, like Cover California, if you vote against that, you actually vote against Obamacare.
Yeah, because we talked about Obamacare being the colloquialism just to make it just like they talked about the Obama phones.
Well, they did. It worked. They marketed. They marketed everything as Obamacare, so they will vote against it just because it says Obamacare.
Yeah.
So now they freaking out like, I didn't know that ACA was Obamacare, and now they're gonna repeal it, and now I'm losing my insurance.
Didn't we read something that the leading people that enrolled in Obamacare are the states that Trump won?
Yeah. The states that Trump won have the most enrollees into the Obamacare.
That's what I'm saying. So I think this whole presidency is because so many people voted out of racism, voted out of sexism, voted out of misogyny. It's gonna come back and bite them in the ass so many different ways. Because if you voting like that, then that means you also coming from an ignorant place when it comes to even the rest of these issues.
Mm-hmm.
That means you don't understand that Obamacare was covered California, that Obamacare was ACA, and Obamacare was maybe Mitt Romney care, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a bunch of different. It was a breakdown, and I meant to save the article, but it did say it's called this here. It's called this here, just so you know. But that wasn't put out there, you know. It was just.
That's what, like Dame said, that's what the hell they get, because they were so keyed on making America white again that they.
You meant great.
We know what they were talking about.
We meant great. Meant great.
To the point they voted against their own interests.
Yeah.
So now I haven't heard that if Obamacare is repealed, over 35,000 jobs in Louisiana will be lost. Well, Louisiana was one of Trump's biggest states as far as percentage that he won. So I was like, this is what they get.
So many people voted against their own self-interest. Like you literally voted against your own self-interest. And the reason for me, because they would have been cool. Like y'all would have been cool if y'all would put Hillary in there. But us, our shit, like I always say, our shit been what it is. It's gonna be what, no matter who the president is. We gotta figure our life out, no matter who the president. But for y'all going crazy because this is the first time they are being faced with their decisions literally coming back to haunt them.
Right.
Like you seen, I don't know if y'all saw this, but somebody had compiled all the tweets of Trump supporters
that were disappointed
in what's happening.
I saw that, and I was gonna bring that up.
That was one of the biggest parts of his platform. As soon as I get in, I'm gonna repeal Obamacare. It's true. So I'm gonna do. I'm gonna repeal Obamacare. Like that was one of his biggest. That was one of his biggest things. So now and what's even crazier is, I wouldn't mind repeal and replace, but you can't have repeal and replace without replace.
But the thing about it is I'm trying to figure out what would be better than everyone. 90% of people are covered or have the ability to be covered. What would be better than that?
Well, so this is the thing. So just to give you a breakdown, because remember I put on my page and I was talking to people because I had some people who were good with Obamacare and I had some people who were not against Obamacare, but it didn't work for them personally.
Yeah.
So this is the issue with Obamacare. Obamacare is great if you have pre-existing conditions. Because if you have cancer already, you can still get insurance with cancer. So it's amazing if you have pre-existing conditions.
Because prior to that, you wouldn't be able to.
You wouldn't be able to get insurance, no way. So the way it works, it's supposed to. So in theory, this is how Obamacare was supposed to work. All the people with pre-existing conditions, their money that was spent on a test, because as we know, every single test, especially when you're sick, is so expensive, right?
Ridiculous.
So every MRI, every time they draw blood, every lab, costs a grip. So what happened, what Obamacare was supposed to do in theory was, all the people who had pre-existing conditions, their money was supposed to be offset by the people who were well. So the amount of people who are sick and the amount of people who are well, it was supposed to kind of even out. It's almost like if we all pay for car insurance and Daniel's the only one who have an accident, it's cool because we've been paying for car insurance every month, so we only like paying really for one car, but we got all this money in the pot from just paying our car insurance monthly. That's what was supposed to happen. But the problem was the premiums for the middle income people were so high, you have more well people who were willing to pay the penalty than to get on Obamacare. So the people who were well not going on, that offset the cost, and it made a lot of the insurance companies pull out. Because they said, okay, now we just getting stuck with all the pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, because now everybody is going to the doctor and everybody is going to get, and now, I have been having this lung for 18 years. Let me go get it checked out. So that was an influx of that. And then we also had, but there were so many different components because a very big part of Obamacare was wellness, getting yourself checked out to make preventative care. And making sure that the kids, not kids, I say kids, but you can stay under your insurance till you're 25. That was a very big part of it too. So people are actually utilizing these visits, utilizing the services because now you have health care. You don't have to just.
So that's what I'm saying. So now you look at it.
Yes.
All the people who visited and only paying copay, and that money was supposed to be subsidized by the well people who were putting into the pot.
Right.
We don't have enough well people putting into the pot. So then you get Aetna pulled out. I forgot the other one. It's like the two Blue Cross. Aetna and Blue Cross pulled out of Obamacare. So then you had like one or two insurance companies in the whole country left. So now they can drive up the price on everything because they kind of got a monopoly.
Right.
So now they can we know the government telling y'all got to take Obamacare, so we finna charge the shit out of the hospitals. So the hospitals starting to lose money, and then the doctors lose money.
So it wasn't to me. What they need to do is if they are going to replace, which they're not, but I think something adequate because it's so hard when we have such a complex tax system.
Yeah.
So yeah, fine, we can all pay the same, but if some of you guys are making more than me and I'm still paying the same, then it's going to be more of a tax on me.
Well,
if I have a small business if I have a small business and I'm paying the same thing as another business, of course it's not going to be fair.
Well, to the question of what would be better in the interim. Actually, what would be better is just getting insurance through whatever hospital it is you're going to, which is actually been an option that even somebody that we know that works for Cover California was like, it would be easier and cheaper for you to literally just go and get insurance through whatever hospital that you go to. So I think. Well, the thing, like you said, the thing with Obamacare, which is actually Romney Care, but they marketed it as Obamacare, is like, yeah, like the initial idea, like first of all, it's the fact that if you don't get it, you get penalized. Like that makes absolutely no sense. Like if I don't go and get insurance, you're going to fine me for not getting.
Well, that's because what happens is like James said, if we're all supposed to be sharing the cost and you choose not to, then it's going up for the rest of us. So that's just an incentive to make everyone qualify. Because what also happens is a lot of people who applied. They didn't have to pay for insurance. They actually applied for they actually qualified for their state funded programs, like Medi-Cal, Medicare. So maybe I didn't apply for Medi-Cal or Medicare before, but since they made me apply for Obamacare, Cover California, they found out, oh yeah, you qualify for Medi-Cal, so I have to pay for insurance or whoever. So that's what that incentive is. If we're supposed to be sharing the cost. If it's supposed to be all 5 of us, but 2 of us don't apply, then the 3 of us have to pay.
Exactly.
So that's what the penalty was, the incentive for you to pay. Now you could get the cheapest possible that you wanted or whatever it was you qualified for, but that's more so why.
But I'm saying, so even though, so for example, a friend of mine, Hector, he said before Obamacare, he paid probably $500 for his whole family. For a family of 4. He paid $500 a month for overall care for a family of 4. He's in Arizona. So then once Obamacare came, his premium went up to $2,400.
That's outrageous, man.
It went because he's a small business owner because he, an entrepreneur. So he had to go under small business owner,
right?
And they charge per person
yeah.
and by his income
in
a household. So now you have somebody like him. Who, yeah, he's a business owner, but he's not like Sears. Yeah. He's not Walmart. So he goes from $500 to $2,400.
That's ridiculous. Because what you just said actually revealed how much of a business hospitals and insurances are. Because if the reality was, if we were all putting in our part and we were all paying, and like you said, it was supposed to balance out, then that would be okay. But if they start pulling out because they're not making any money, because that's what they're doing, they're making money off people who aren't sick. They're making money off people who aren't going to the hospital. So if you're not making money because you have to spread it along the people who are sick, and hospitals are not taking Obamacare or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, some of the big
private
hospitals,
right.
For sure.
So if they're not doing that, then that really goes to show how big hospitals and pharmacies are businesses, which we already knew. But
well, we know that. Like even if you just look at the comparison of what we pay for medicine here in America and what they pay for medicine in Canada, the exact same medicine is 3 times the amount. So it's not different medicine. Why is it 3 times the amount? Because big pharmaceutical have lobbyists and they make certain laws.
Like Cory Booker,
number one on the list.
He went from hero to hoe cake in
like
2 days.
Yeah.
but then this was the dumb shit about his explanation about why he voted against it. He was like, because we need to have stuff in place that makes sure that it's safe for. But like, Canada gets the medicine from here. So you mean to tell me if America is selling this medicine to Canada, it's not safe for us?
Yeah, and I think everyone has Health Care Canada.
It's free.
Yes, it's free because the way that their taxes are, the way that you pay your taxes, everything is a little bit higher, like food and different things like that is higher, but everybody has health care.
I would take that.
I'll take that.
I would take that as well.
Well, and also because I went to Canada to do some work, so what I found out is it's almost like communism without communism. To explain that, they are involved in like every facet. Like for example, when I went out there, they said oh, the government pays for our entertainment out here as long as you keep it Canadian. So I had to work with Canadian producers in order to get paid, but they like, no, if you work with Canadian producers, Canada pays for the artists, the Canada pays for the music videos, pays for their album, because they like, we want to breed our own stuff, so we try to make sure we keep it
I
Canadian.
have no problem with that.
Yeah, so what they do is now, like, I think that's dope, but that also shows, that feeds into how they do their healthcare.
Right.
Like you say, if the government is paying for everything and they're paying for a part of entertainment, I'm sure they get a piece of the money for the entertainment.
And not only that, it seems like they're recycling the dollars, because if you're telling me as a small business, I have to use another small business or other entertainment, then we're just constantly recycling dollars. Because you have to pay taxes, you have to do all those things. So all so I don't, the problem I think with us implementing that type of system is people who make a lot of money are not, because yeah, you have health insurance, you can do whatever you want. So if you make a whole bunch of money, you're not interested in helping the little guy, and that's where our main issue is.
The main issue is in America is the dollar is valued more than human life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, because medicine literally is a big business, it's never going to be about actually doing what's best for the people. And as advanced and ahead of the curve as everybody like to make America seem, we damn near in the dark ages when it comes to certain shit like healthcare and education.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders has been really harping on that. Like, dude, we're like really behind when it comes to healthcare.
Way healthcare and education.
Yeah,
and education.
That's why a lot of people can go.
And voting system.
Yeah, a lot of people can go to Europe, like not community college. They go to universities for free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for free.
In a lot of different places.
No matter what it is that you're studying, you can go for free. Like this place where you can go to medical school for free.
Yeah.
Which would cost you.
Well, because like we have learned, America is a business.
Mm-hmm.
Like America was bought and sold as a business. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but America was bought by like 6 families. It was bought by the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Rothschilds, and it's like the Vanderbilts, and there's one more family. But like 5 families own America. Even now, to this day, they own America. So, having said that, that means in terms of the way our legislation works, we are ran like a profitable business. So it's not profitable to take care of people. It's not profitable to make sure we all get education, because if we all get education as well, those 6 people won't own the country for long. If you really educate people in the country, things will change. Education changes things. They don't want that to happen, so that's why our education is still shit. Because how are we supposed to be like America foremost in the world, and everybody supposed to look to us, and we supposed to be the ones, like we used to fight to get to space before Russia shit. How is this same America now behind in everything? Technical wise, we're behind. Education wise, we're behind. Medical wise, we're behind. But that's because they profit and benefit. Like, there's a lot of stuff that there's cures for. But there's money in treatment. There's not money in the cure. It's like It's like a dope deal. Like, I'm gonna give you this shit for free, and you're gonna come back and you're gonna have to pay me for it the next time, and you gotta keep paying me for it. As opposed to me saying, hey, I'm gonna give you this one batch, and you won't need to buy that from me for the rest of your life. They don't want that. They want to be the dope man. They want you to come back and get medicine. Like, the one thing that Obamacare also did was it opened up the floodgates for prescription drugs in America. So you think about, like you said, all those people who have pre-existing, all those people who ain't been going to the doctor for like 10 years, now all of a sudden they got access to, and I'm not talking about just painkillers and legal shit, I'm talking about literally shit like Levitra or
really
Nesta,
stuff,
like shit that is expensive if you bought it by the pill. Now those generic companies are making a killing via Obamacare. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's all a business and it's all a hustle. So the repeal and replace, I feel like they haven't even got far enough. Like, they were so gung-ho to jump in and repeal just to kind of shit on Obama, that they didn't come prepared with. Because I understand the repeal and replace, but the funny thing is, Obamacare is really not that bad.
Yeah.
It needs tweaks
because
the formula doesn't work. Something is not working with the math. That's what needs to be fixed.
And even he admitted that.
Yeah.
He admitted that. But just to get to your point, when I was at CSUN, we were supposed to take a trip to Africa. And it was this guy that one of one of the people we were going to meet was this guy who said he had the cure for AIDS. And, you know, we were like, you know, they was telling us how we was like start preparing to take, because we had to take like 18 shots.
Yeah.
Just to prepare us to go over there. And all of a sudden we got a letter, or my professor got a letter from Colin Powell, and was like, it's a no-go, because in one of the issues, dude came up missing. You know, to this day, he's still missing. And he was actually curing people in Africa with AIDS. Somehow, well, not somehow, it got out. And like Dame said, that kills all the pharmaceutical places, because remember, people was dying of AIDS within a year.
Yeah.
Now,
This is like a long flu.
Yeah, now just, you know, you could live with AIDS, but he would have killed, he would have cost billions and trillions of dollars with that cure. Because people would no
Like,
longer...
y'all really think Magic just been watching his diet? like for real, like, cause Magic tried to hit niggas with that. I've been
Like,
watching.
it shit never, but you know, the funny thing is, Magic visited Dr. Sebi.
Yeah. And Magic had HIV in 92?
91,
91, when that shit was still turning into AIDS.
Yeah.
Like
quick.
quick. It wasn't like his was, but he got his before they had the
Easy.
cocktail, before
Yeah.
Easy, yeah, before the cocktail.
Easy.
Because as soon as Easy E found out, nigga, 3 weeks later, that he done.
Yeah.
So that goes to show you, I'm like, there's something, you know, there's a real cure for AIDS because rich people don't die from AIDS no more. When's the last rich person you seen die from AIDS?
Magic actually said...
Eddie Long.
Yikes!
Well, that's a segue.
That's a segue right there,
right
so
there.
we might as well go ahead.
Right, okay, well, let's say for the most part.
Well, Magic said that he went from taking 15 pills to only now taking 1.
That was cancer.
And he said it doesn't even register. Like if he takes an HIV test, it won't register that he's positive.
That's because you pay for the cure, Magic. Like, come on.
I know, but when I was mad when he
Like when he said it, like
you the only person I know who got HIV and gained weight and got healthy.
Come
Like,
on, man.
nigga, you got fat.
The biggest mystery is he had HIV. You remember Cookie was pregnant with your boy. And the fact that Cookie or your boy never contracted it, I mean that right
And again, like I said, we talking 92.
This early 90s.
This early 90s. Magic had that cure. So, like, that's why I say we know it's not a cure for cancer because rich people still die from cancer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, rich people still die from cancer on the regular, so we know there's no real cure. Because if there was a real cure, Steve Jobs would still be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But AIDS is not like, you know, remember from like 89 to maybe like 99, motherfuckers was out of here.
Yeah, man. From the like early 80s, they were dropping
Yeah, like out of here. Like,
gone.
it ain't like that no more.
It was like you literally got a year.
Do y'all think Eddie Long, do y'all think Eddie Long really had cancer? What? I know.
Yes, he did. And because he had AIDS.
Dr. Winslow.
Yes, and because he had AIDS, his immune system was low and he died. Just like pneumonia.
Tell me this. I've never. Look, I get it. You lie about having AIDS, I get it. I never had nobody or heard anyone lie about having cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude lies about having cancer. Don't nobody lie about having
Yeah,
cancer.
because when he came out, that picture came out, he was like, oh, I'm a vegan.
Yeah, I'm a vegan.
Well, see, so this is why I don't think it was just. Well, I mean, that's not the only reason I think it wasn't just cancer, but this is why I don't think it was just cancer because, like I said, when it first came out that he was sick, to totally say I'm not sick, I'm in good health, and then be like I'm a vegan, I'm like, first of all, you trying to play me a fool. That's first of all, you trying to play me a fool. But second of all, like really, the rapid decline, it could have been cancer, but we've all seen somebody get that package before.
Y'all in the package, man.
Look,
Get the package.
Y'all get on my nerves with the package.
That your face starts sinking in.
We all see somebody get that package, and the way when people start getting sick from that package, it looks a little different than it does when it's cancer. It does. It looks a little different. Because even like when you have cancer, if you're going through chemo and you get skinny and sick like that, it's a different look.
Mhm.
Like he looked
sickly. That's what it is.
sickly.
Like where you literally like, it looked like his soul was leaving his body like every single day.
Yeah, because the thing with cancer, the thing that really eliminates you is the chemo.
Mhm.
I mean, you putting poison into your body, so you gradually see that, take over the body. With the package, when you Eddie Long and you posing with the wave cap and you like 250, and all of a sudden, dude, you 135.
Yeah.
And we talking about within 6 months. I didn't see people with cancer like go down like that fast. And like Dan said, it's a different look. Because with cancer, with the chemo taking over, you gradually see it.
Well, even with the chemo taking over, like the skin looks a little different. Skin is kind of gray. Like it's literally like, 'cause we all know somebody who's had cancer. So it just looks different. I can't pinpoint exactly what
He
it is.
still had his color.
He still had his color. He just looked like the sick version of himself.
Even like he had the package.
He had that package. And so
He took some tainted cheeks down there and all that.
So this is what I want to talk about in regards to Eddie Long before we move on. This is what I want to talk about. What? Did I miss something?
Don't repeat it. Go ahead.
This is what I want to talk about in regards to Eddie Long. I don't know how people are reconciling. I mean, damn what he died from.
Yeah.
But I don't know how, I guess I'll say law-abiding Christians are reconciling the things that he's done and still praising this man. I take issue with that. I take issue with people saying he's a molester, one, but then two, also, I mean, do anybody think he was not gay?
His church members.
Him?
Look, man, I went to Megafest in Atlanta, 2004. If you guys don't know, Megafest is like a big Christian event. All the pastors all over the world go there, and it's like millions of people that's down there. And of course, by being in Atlanta, Eddie Long was like the hosting pastor of it. So, you got all your big dogs, TD Jakes, Bishop Noah Jones, all your big dogs around there. And so, Eddie Long was like that guy. And I mean, this is like 2004. It was like, oh, Bishop Eddie Long, like he came out, it was like, he was like that guy. And I think what happens is, it's kind of like a lot of people just, sometimes folks forget that their pastors are human and men in flesh and bone.
But that's what...
And they tend to idolize these folks, and then they don't want to be disappointed until who they believe they thought they were. These folks know Eddie Long was foul, but because it was so, it's almost like convincing a child that their superhero was a child molester and like this horrible human being. And that's how a lot of Christian folks, that's why they tell you don't idolize these pastors. They men and
they worship them. They don't idolize. They worship these men.
And that's the issue.
Well, I think, and that's my issue because it sucks because I've seen a few people talking about it, but not enough, talking about the amount of molestation that comes from the pulpit in the church, not just the black church, in the church, period. Mm-hmm. The amount of, like, we seen it with, I don't know if y'all seen that movie Spotlight about the Catholic Church and how they found like 94 Catholic priests who had molested kids, and they just had moved them around from city to city. Like after they got caught, they didn't report it to the police. Most of the police departments were Catholic. Like the sergeant stuff were Catholic, they squashed it and just moved them around. It was deep, but so we know this happens on the regular. What can be done to clean this up and address it? Because I say this because I'm watching people scorn the people talking about what Eddie Long did. Like people like, that man, leave that man alone. He had to see God for himself, and God forgives all. And I've seen people saying
he did now. Don't you?
He did now. Don't you trash his name? Don't speak ill of the dead. So that's the biggest thing. And to me, that is very telling, because also, and we also seen that people were going after, chastising, threatening, and trying to kill the victims, the accusers,
and the victims. No, you're right, the victims, because it came out that he did these things. So.
Well, it came out that he did them, and I also read somewhere that he would go into certain parts of the country where it's not legal to do it.
And then he'll fly them there.
Like he'll go hit the Philippines up and do his thing, and so since we know this, to me, I feel like we have enough evidence. To me, I could be wrong, but I feel like we have enough evidence to feel like it's a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
If we have this much evidence to say it's a matter of fact, why are we not holding these people accountable for, and I'm not talking about the actual crime, I'm talking about the moral crime. If you're supposed to be a pastor, you're supposed to be leading.
Who one of his main things was speaking out against homosexuality.
That was true. But like Daniel said, it's going to... it's going to be a civil war that people who, like us, have to be willing to fight. Because like Daniel said, when you're going against people, they worship these men, okay? I've seen a woman, and me and Chandler go to City of Refuge, and you see people who, I just, Bishop Noah Jones, I have a towel, if I could just touch that towel and be anointed. Like, no, what the hell? He just sweating. He ain't no anointing. And he even said it. You remember he said, he's like, ain't no anointing on this towel.
Yeah, he's just sweat.
This is just sweat.
Some pastors have that, like, let me bring you down type situation.
Yeah, but pastors who do capitalize on it, because I've seen them. You got your boy swinging his jacket, and people fainting. I've seen, if T.D. Jakes, if I could just, these pastors tell you, if you want that blessing, come plant that seed, a seed of $100.
The craziest shit I've seen,
and people are doing it,
was Creflo Dollar and this other clown jackass fool.
Clown jackass fool.
Yeah, that just came from out of nowhere. I don't know
you felt that.
They was like, bring your offering up here to get blessed. It was like, if you bring your money up here, we're gonna bless it so it can be. So you have people going up there.
So it can multiply. That's that bullshit.
So look, everybody threw this money on the thing, right? So he said, "Oh, we about to bless this money." So then he started running back and forth for the money. Everybody started going crazy and shit. More people started running up, throwing money. Then Creflo Dollar punk ass runs from out the crowd and starts doing it with him, and then people really lost their shit. Like it was WrestleMania or some shit.
My disconnect with the Christian church came when, my mother was 3 months away from passing away, and she went to a revival at what the pastor name that was on at the reality show for pastors.
You talking about Genuine?
The old gangster? Oh no, you talking about?
Is it McClendon?
McClendon.
So, they wanted my mom to come up there to lay hands on her, and before they did, they had her she had to write down all her information about what she was going through, what she wanted prayer for. They gave him the paper.
And he acted like he prophesied.
And he said, I have a feeling that you have colon cancer. And I'm sitting there like, are you kidding me?
It was like that movie Steve Martin did.
Faith.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And that was my first like being a part of something like that and seeing it, and everybody, and then the whole laying of the hands thing. This fool threw the Holy Spirit across the room to the choir, and they all fell out.
He's fucking Brett Favre now.
Hey, say that one more time. Come on, let's listen to what he just said.
He threw the Holy Spirit across the
Aaron
room,
Rodgers.
and the entire choir.
Mary.
That nigga's WWE.
Yeah.
He Aaron Rodgers, the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, go long.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit, Hail Mary.
And so, but to get to that, how do we? Because see, that's where the battle is. For some reason, and because I always tell people like, look, I'm spiritual, I believe in God, but I'm not religious. And the religious people are who run the church, because that's who's giving these pastors the money.
Yeah.
Like the no pastor, I don't give them who you are. Convince me that if I give you 100, so God is really that specific.
If you give me
$100, that's gonna be a seed for a blessing. You can't convince me of that. But 1,200 people, he is.
Yeah.
So it's going.
Like, so he ain't gonna take my little 40 because that's all I got.
Yeah.
Like this ain't gonna be a seed. Like my little 30, my little 30 ain't gonna be a seed. Yeah, I'm like, he ain't gonna really bless my shit all the way.
That's even the fact of churches making tithes be being only a monetary thing. Even according to scripture, it wasn't. Like people were tithing with animals and.
No, you say they literally in the scripture says bring your time.
To church
Your time, you should. It says your time, your talents, or your tenth. So that's not your tenth, your tithe, your talents, your tenth. All that, like that's what tithing is supposed to be. So am I giving my? I'm
taking a goat and I'm tap dancing.
Is that your tenth?
Yeah, and one of the issues that they always play this scare tactic when it comes to tithing, like for some reason, when it comes to tithing, it's always like the scare tactic of like, why do I feel like I'm going to hell for just putting $10 in there? No.
Well,
when a man robbed God.
Well, I don't like that, and I also don't like I don't like when they do the specific lines. I hate that when they say like this is the $100 line, this is the $50 line, like this is the $10.
They've done that? I've never seen them done
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I see that a lot of times. So they like
$20 line.
If you give it 100, and I'm like, yo, that shit is ill because like.
You putting them on blast.
You putting somebody on blast, and you also trying to force people ego. You trying to force people ego to be like, I ain't got this 50, but I can't be.
Hey,
I can't be caught in the $1.
I ain't about to let Herschel old punk ass walk up there and I ain't gonna. You know what?
Someone told me
But
that.
you know what? I think if we're talking about change in the church, you know what's going to happen? It's like, remember the Sandusky, Penn State stuff? And like, remember Joe Fraterno was untouchable. He was like a god at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take an organization or something involved in churches like.
Or for like a lot of them to fall.
Exactly, and to like go into the church and like we talk about systematic change, like for racism and stuff like that. It's going to take something like that for the church though. Like
I don't, you know what? See, the thing about it is,
go inside.
and in theory it should, but like like Jane brought up with the Catholic Church, they're hiding these people. We know it's clear. It's clear. You hear Catholic and you think like child molesting boys. Like that's really sad.
Yeah.
And it's really sad that there are these boys that this happens to all the time. Because for some reason the church, it's like a brainwashed type situation. So all these people that are like, oh, don't tarnish his name and all these things that you guys are hearing,
I'm like,
it's ridiculous.
You know what Bishop Eddie Long said when these allegations? He stood in front of that church. He said, "The devil."
I'm sorry.
He basically said, "The devil has me under attack right now. The devil is attacking."
Yeah.
And the church, they were like, "Yeah." He said because the Lord knows, what type of work. I mean, Satan knows what type of work I'm trying to get ready to do. And the devil is trying to put everything in my way to stop me. So this is just a distraction from Satan. And they ate it up.
Yeah, so he was saying the people I raised, like the people I molested, they're the demons.
Yeah.
They're the devil attacking me in my good work. So the fact that, like I said, the old Daniel, because I see, on Instagram sometimes, the explore page, like videos, whatever pop up. So it was somebody that was a member of his church. One of the videos popped up, and it was like her sharing a message. So she wrote this whole long bullshit ass thing, like if you didn't go to the church, you didn't know the work that this great man did, and you can't say. So my thing was, I was like, now the old me would have been like, so fuck the fact that he just molested boys.
Well, this is my thing, because that begs the question. So what is the good Samaritan to boy booty ratio?
Right.
Like, how much good can you do to where it deletes you taking boy booty? Because that's what it seemed. That's what it seemed to be the thing. Like,
And the most,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it seemed to be like, well, he did all of this good shit, so we ain't that mad at him taking a little boy booty every now and then. Like,
but that's like to me. I feel like that goes into the people worshiping these people and not. I look at it like this: like you have some people that be in relationships, and they are like where they literally worship the person that they're with.
yeah,
So even if somebody like shows them a video, like yo, I got a video of him or her cheating, and they're gonna be like, no, I don't believe it because there's no way they're perfect.
yeah.
Like there's no way they would do that to me because I just believe in them so much. And it's like no. So the thing is, like people have, you know what it is? It's the same thing with the people that was going at that pastor that left the church.
Yeah.
Is that people are afraid of even thinking that like somebody like Eddie Long that they look up to would even be capable of anything like that. So instead of actually addressing the issue,
They'll rather act like
Yeah,
this.
and that's the problem with worshiping
the
the
person.
pastor, because I remember someone saw Bishop Jones in the club, and I almost had a stroke. I'm like, dude, he's a man just like the rest of us.
Right.
I mean, I never look.
Yeah.
I'm like, he more Bible educated than I am, and you know, I guess the Lord has anointed him to be a pastor. But that's the only difference between me and him. He's tempted by the same things I'm tempted by,
Right.
and that's it. I don't think his sweat towel is gonna anoint me or heal me, or that's it. You know, and the disappointment that this person had when they saw Bishop.
Because like you said, that comes from putting him on this pedestal.
Yeah, it
like,
was
so
like,
that's the thing. I feel like the pedestal of, you know what I'm saying? Like the pedestal needs to be brought down a notch. The pedestal, the way they look at pastors, needs to come down. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's just it's very disappointing. It's disheartening. It's sad to watch and to see people demonizing the people who's trying to speak on it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Or the people that were actually molested.
And you know the scary thing about this, it made me think about how after there was a movie called, it was a book also, Left Behind. It's like a whole book series about, the rapture, and then people are left behind.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a 12, 13 book series. And it's crazy because the people, and then, there's this character, he's the Antichrist, Nikolai. And Nikolai is seen as the savior, this great man, this, he's like that dude. They see no wrong. But those who have a personal relationship with Christ sees him
As the Antichrist.
as the Antichrist. And there's this scene where Nikolai, it was this guy that did something wrong, and Nikolai shoots the guy in the head. Everyone in the room saw the guy commit suicide except this one person who actually saw Nikolai shoot the guy in the head because he was the closest. I mean, he has a personal relationship with God. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like a lot of these people who worship these pastors, they're like those people who saw the guy commit suicide instead of seeing what Nikolai actually did. Right. They're completely blinded and brainwashed. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like even though these folks look at us as like, oh, you guys are somebody called me like a rogue Christian before or whatever. It's like, you don't see the same things I see.
Yeah.
And that's the issue because you have put this man on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. And the person we was talking about was actually Bishop McClendon. Because it was a friend of mine. I guess he wanted him to marry him, like this way back in the day. And he was like, this when he had the other church over there on Adams. And
that one he got kicked out of because he was getting all the girls pregnant.
He got the girl pregnant.
I guess we got a church that had some sense there.
Yeah. Well, got the girl pregnant.
And
got the girl pregnant, and my boy like confronted him on, like, hey, man, I like like, you my pastor. I was, what's up with this? And McLean was like, dude, mind your own fucking business. Or straight up. Insisted, my boy, him and his wife have church in their living room.
They don't even go to church.
They don't even go to church no more.
That's deep, man.
And you know,
and it sucks because people get caught up in that, and I feel like they end up losing touch. You know, like situations like that will make you lose touch with your own spirituality because a lot of it is, like you said too. You know, people putting too much power into the person.
Yeah. You know what I think it is, and I think this is I think this is a huge problem that people have. I look at it the same thing with like Obama. Like you can like and love Obama, but that doesn't mean that you can't still hold him accountable when he needs to be held accountable. Same thing with the pastors. You can love them, but when they need to be held accountable, you get that, and that doesn't take away from the fact that you still like them.
Yeah.
It doesn't that doesn't change anything. That's just like the same thing with like even with like music. Like you could be a huge fan of somebody.
R. Kelly?
Yeah. Well, yeah, fuck him. But I'm saying, but like, you could be, like, say for instance, like, you could be a huge Beyonce fan. And if she does something that might be whack, you saying that it's whack doesn't mean you're not a Beyonce fan anymore.
No, but I think I get what you're saying, and I do get the relationship between that. But I think that's a little bit different than what's happening with the church, because I think what people are doing is connecting the man to like
The
Jesus.
spirituality.
They're connecting the man to like Jesus and God. It's like God, Jesus, pastor. Like he is my way to salvation.
But you know why, Jim? Because in the Bible it said that they're like God, like they're the direct line to God. Like almost like people don't think they could have their own personal relationship without the pastor being the go-between.
Right.
Well, I think that was I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was somewhere in the Old Testament. Because in the New Testament, then we have Jesus. So our connection between, for those of us who believe, like our connection between now is, our connection to God is Jesus. The man is bringing us the word, but that's our connection. So they're connecting that to their spirituality.
I think Daniel is on something, because I had to really question myself with Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I grew up, I mean, everybody, was like one of the biggest Michael Jackson fans. But when those allegations came out, I caught myself defending him before I even knew the facts. And I had to really take a step back, because I'm like, I didn't want to believe that the person after growing up over 30 years enjoying and my favorite entertainer, like before, I mean, that's, you know, trying to dress like him and everything else since I was little, was capable of these crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, because I saw a lot of people would fall into that trap. Oh, Michael Jackson didn't touch those scales. Like, man, we don't even know the facts yet.
Yeah.
And for me, it was hard, because I was like, I didn't want to fall into that category of just like, because I didn't want to believe that somebody I just truly,
You might idolize.
yeah, pretty much, what was capable of this. And a lot of folks
At the church, it's that same thing. It's that same train of thought. It's that,
Same
like you
train
said,
of
it's that same train of thought, and it's true. And look, man, I just really hope that if Eddie Long don't do nothing, is for some people, like you said, probably not the people at his church, but for the people outside of his church. The Eddie Long stuff, even coupled with the stuff Kim Burrell was talking about, I hope it at least sparks and starts a conversation in regards to some of the other darker things that's going on in the church that need to be addressed, that we need to, talk about.
Well, it leads to a bigger issue. I think we talked about this. Mega churches has hurt Christianity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, when you turn something into big business,
Yeah.
because like, you at mega church, it's almost like now you're getting paid for certain sermons.
Yeah, that's like at Price Church. Like,
You mean Apostle Price?
the one that got Disney World at church?
Yeah,
Isn't that?
Epcot
The
Center.
Epcot Center.
Are you talking about Fred Price?
Yeah,
Okay, you know that they call him Apostle Price at that
I
time.
don't.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the Bible was like rewritten.
They call him what?
Apostle.
He's an apostle.
No, but,
Apostle.
right. So the
What the
thing,
hell? He was like Paul?
Yeah,
Right.
he's basically like Paul.
you know, at his church, it's like, it's a thing, like, the more money that you pay, the closer you get to sit to the front.
Wow.
That's true. That has a city of refuge.
Wow.
got to strolling in your latest hell. Got to see you in the front. I was like, bro.
You ain't one of them good seat niggas.
Yeah, and the less you pay, the further you have to sit down.
No, like Beyonce really came in late. I'm not just saying her name. That's true story. Her Solange was pregnant at the time. They came in late. And
It was brighter up there.
Everybody like, nigga, y'all got that money.
I don't know why.
I don't know. Why did they take
Because we let the ushers.
Y'all seat
We
fillers.
let the ushers bring
Y'all
us
seat
up
fillers.
first. We let them. We normally just be like, okay.
What? After Lisa Ray was standing in front of me with the white suit and the thong on in church, I would never sit in front again.
Hey, let me ask y'all this, man. Steve Harvey.
Coon Harvey.
Boy, right?
Steve Harvey. Boom, boom, boom.
Coon train is coming. What about black on black crime?
Me, Trump ain't bad.
Where the white women's at?
So Steve Harvey went and met with Donald Trump. And then the next day, I don't know if y'all heard, he was on his radio show, kind of explaining what happened.
I was trying to catch it, but I missed it.
So, when he was on his show the next day, first he was saying he was hurt by all the backlash. He said, y'all cut me, man. Y'all cut me deep. Y'all
Did
cut
he
me.
start crying?
He half, you know how he do his half, like.
I can't stand it.
But
And that was before.
Shirley was there for him.
Shorty was there for him.
And
Shorty
you
was
like-
like, Steve, explain to him why you went and all that. And he was like, well.
He claimed President Obama told him to go.
Well, he said essentially, he said in the beginning,
The
he like,
transition team,
the
right?
transition team.
I called him
told
a lie because he first he said Obama, and then he backed up. He said, "Well, did Obama tell us to reach out to those?"
Yeah.
So he said Obama said it in his speech, but when he initially said it, he made it seem like Obama told him.
My
on the
friend
phone.
President
He's like,
Obama.
Steve,
He said, my friend President Obama. That's what he
we
said.
need you to talk to Donald Trump because you are a black leader.
But then
Whatever you
That's pretty
say.
good.
But
That's
then,
actually pretty
yeah, but then he backtracked, was like, well, you know, Obama in his speech told us to reach out like, dude, we caught you in a lie.
Okay, well, let me get y'all thoughts. Like, what do y'all think about Steve Harvey?
hypocritical. I saw a video Monday night where he was saying how Trump shouldn't be president and all this other crap, and they spliced it together with him coming out of that news conference looking like he just
Sold his
sold his
soul.
soul. Like he know what to do. It's unfortunate because I just saw a meme where it said, why don't Trump meet up with like the Jesse Williams and the DL Hughley's?
Because it's a show. It's
Right.
not. It's not really. It's the same thing Malcolm X explained. It's
Yeah.
like they'll have the Uncle Toms going there to try to convince other
all
black
right.
people that no, this white people's is good here.
Right.
Like we y'all don't need to worry about them.
Yeah, you know what? And I think, well, one, I don't think I would have cared. Like, if Trump would have met with Steve Harvey just to meet with Steve Harvey, I wouldn't have cared. What I care about is Trump meeting with Steve Harvey.
For the
Trump
MC.
meeting, yeah, no, not just MC, but Trump meeting with Steve Harvey. Trump meet with Kanye West as if these are the voices of the black people.
Right.
That this is the representation of black people. Because I, like, you know, of course, the internet, you get to see where people stand on shit. So the internet is really torn. I think most of our mothers love the fact that he went to be president because that's his audience, right? Like most of our mothers and older white women, that's his audience. So they like,
He took over audience.
yeah. So I think it's a good thing that he did it and woo woo woo. Because his whole thing is we just need, I'm getting my seat at the table so I can make sure we have some say in what's on the menu. That was his philosophy about going to do it. My issue is there are so many better voices for Donald Trump to reach out to, so much better minds. Like, not take nothing away from Steve Harvey, but he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. He's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. He's not the most articulate, and you know, like, and I'm not trying to be funny. Like, this is just like really the way I see it. There are so many people who are more articulate, have more to say, and can actually convey what we want and what we need as a people.
Or
To me,
even rally the people.
better than Steve Harvey. And my thing is, my thing is like, you're not gonna meet with Michael Eric Dyson
Or Jesse Williams.
or Jesse Williams, or and it don't, to me it don't even have to be entertainers, because why you can't meet with I forgot her name, but she's like one of the biggest women in tech right now. Like, meet with her, meet with like.
He's not going to meet with anybody who is going to really
Challenge him.
challenge him. I mean,
Right.
He ain't gonna meet with Bernie. He ain't gonna meet with Elizabeth. He's not gonna meet with, and they're white. He's not gonna meet with anybody who's gonna hold him accountable and say, "What are you gonna do for people?"
Well,
he's not gonna meet with anybody.
That's like going back to Malcolm X, who was clearly ahead of his time. Well, no, he wasn't clearly ahead of his time. It's just
Time ain't same.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Exactly. For us black people in this country, shit is the same. But he was like, show me in the white community where a athlete or a comedian is viewed as a black leader.
You mean a white leader?
I mean, you're viewed as a white leader. So the fact that Steve Harvey, first of all, the fact that Trump is reaching out to them, like, all you think we are entertainers.
Yeah.
That's some whole other shit to even
Yeah.
get into is.
D.L. Hughley touched on that.
Yeah, like, all we are entertainers. So let me get, first of all, and he got like the Mount Rushmore of Uncle Tom's. Like, Body Snatch, Jim Brown, I don't know what the fuck happened to him.
Ray
Lewis, who's a clown and a half. Kanye, Steve Harvey. Like, literally, these are people that
Next, Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley could be next too.
Stephen A.
Yeah, Stephen A. That motherfucker. But so the thing is like the fact that he's getting all the people that black people have been like, yo, what the hell is going on with them? Like, speaking, like Ray Lewis doing them dumbass videos, his half preaching, condemning black people, like shit like that. Like, you're getting people that we don't fuck with. Like, you're reaching out to people that we don't fuck with. So even if you doing this dog and pony show with them, it's just further showing that this shit is just it ain't gonna do anything.
Well, the thing is, and I mean, even Martin Luther King the third,
His son,
who's been trying to sell damn near everything that the family don't.
And meeting with him on King Day. Like, that's what I'm
On
saying. Like,
King
it's,
Day,
it's
like-
so, like, it's so convoluted.
Yeah.
And I think it's whack. And I think it's, what's even whacker to me it's not the people that's going to meet with Trump. It's the people, our people that's falling for it.
Yeah.
It's our people that's falling for it. Our people that say, all y'all want to do is complain. You should want to go sit with the president. I'm like, yo, you should want to go sit with the president. But if we going to have a representative go sit, we should have the correct representative go.
Okay.
That's like, if we all sitting in here in this room, and we going to talk about basketball, and we say, hey, y'all, we need to go send somebody in there talk about basketball. Send Chandra.
Right.
Like, but you got four dudes who like know sports, know statistics, but at the table we like, let's go let Chan talk for us.
Well, I can Google, and I know a little bit.
I mean,
about
clearly, because
that.
that's what's going on and what's happening.
Well, yeah, but see.
But yeah, you're right.
But on the dang point, Trump, Steve Harvey, Ray Lewis, what these guys know is money. Black people issues. Yeah, okay, you give Steve Harvey, Big Brother, what is it?
Big Brother
program, $30 million, right? And they say like 500 of those kids come out the program, become, they don't join gangs, they go to school, whatever. They still have to face systematic racism and policies that are still set. Name one policy that Steve Harvey is aware of that's going to help change the system. Because, yes, Trump could donate $10 million, but our problem are the policies and the people that have to enforce these policies. You have laws, and you have people who's supposed to uphold the law, abusing their power against a certain particular race of people. What is Steve Harvey ever touched on about certain policies regarding those issues?
and this is how out of touch he is. Like that one time where he did that camp, and the whole shit was like, having
Dress
people
up.
cut their hair, like the whole respectability bullshit.
Like having them cut their hair and wear ties.
Like, if you do this, you'll be fine.
Yeah, police won't mess with you type shit.
That's
That's what I mean. So to me, that's the problem. Like, my issue is that disconnection, and also these Negroes coming out now behind Steve Harvey saying what's y'all problem? The same people, like Stephen A. Smith, literally the same people who were shitting on Colin Kaepernick are coming out saying we need to respect Donald Trump as the president.
I don't understand.
Like I said, you can't be there for what Colin Kaepernick is doing and going through, and you're against that. But damn all that Donald Trump has said and done, we now have to respect him as the president.
Stephen A. Smith and his comments to me are just he's just so hypocritical. I can never follow what he doesn't have one belief system or another. One day he's yelling about Colin being.
He got one. It's called keep getting them checks.
All right.
Okay,
Hey, watch
there.
this. Who all at this table been arrested before? Okay, so you have 3 out of 5. None of us are criminals. None of us are bad people. That's a problem that 3 out of us. And I said I would go on them and say all 5 of us are fucking good.
You had 2. You had Jamila and Tanya raised their hand too.
So basically, you have 7 black people in this room, and what? 5 raised their hands. None of us are bad people, but that's a shame that
one might be a criminal.
I
ain't gonna say no names.
I guarantee you, if you got 7 more black people, the percentage might be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the problem with America. I did everything the right way. I don't even drink. I don't smoke. I went to college, and my ass still went to jail.
Well, that's just like the bullshit with the
and no tattoos, clean cut, the whole of Steve
Harvey's wet dream for what a young black man should be.
My motherfucking ass still went to jail for something I didn't do. Okay? That's our issues. And pretty much the people who Trump has set in his cabinet are completely behind the issues that we are against.
But that's like, speaking on what you're talking about, the guy that was arrested in Chicago, the Northwestern student, that was arrested for stealing his own car.
Oh, yeah.
Because a dumbass, I'm going to say it, a dumbass white bitch said it looks like he got a Jimmy or something. So she follows him. Yeah. Then a cop followed him, and then he's cooperating. He's telling them the whole 9. Then they start whooping his ass. And so here's a college student, paid for his own. He said when I paid for, he gave all the information I paid for.
I thought he was a professor.
No, he was studying
physics. Yeah.
Yeah,
he was arrested for resisting arrest. Because he was being arrested for stealing his own vehicle. I'm going to say that one more time. He was arrested because he was resisting arrest because he was being arrested for stealing his own vehicle.
Yeah. Just because a white lady said, I think he's stealing the car. I think he's trying to steal the car.
Yeah. Like, you can have whatever Big Brother program you want, but those issues we're still facing. This dude has hired people that Coretta Scott King wrote letters about in 1986 sessions.
Yeah.
About this dude being part of the KKK. And you come out your meeting and say, oh, this is a good man. I know damn well you didn't challenge him on the people he appointed. Because there's no way Donald Trump comes out of a meeting with me saying, oh yeah, me and Clinton, Quincy my friend right here. No, man, I didn't cut your ass out.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I think our people need to understand, it's not that we don't want anybody black to meet with Donald Trump. We not that dumb. We want the right people to meet with Donald Trump. Even though, first of all, we see it's a dog and pony show. It's all photo ops, dog and pony show.
Coming out of Trump Towers. With the pictures and...
Yeah, and Trump walk off and leave you there to the wolves. He's like, yeah, that's my boy, I'm out.
Look at my African American over there.
Hey, did you see the video of Trump saying that and then Steve Harvey doing the butterfly?
No.
He was dancing.
What? Somebody edited the video?
He was doing like a dance, he was checking and jiving.
It's bad.
But on the other hand, I don't, particularly care for Steve Harvey, but, if Trumpy asked him to meet with them, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go. I get that he went wherever, but he wasn't the right. I don't see him saying
First of
no.
all, you got him now teaming up with Ben Carson. This is like the worst fucking cop buddy movie ever in the
it's
history.
ridiculous.
Like, this is dumb.
It's ridiculous, and I do understand. And you know, we didn't address D.L. Hughley because he had his own thoughts about it. He wasn't, but it goes to the fact of people were even saying, "Oh, why should he talk about it?" I think we maybe talked about this because he had his comments on black women and why is he coming out saying X, Y, Z, and everybody has their own opinion. But from
opinion about that, you know what? Because we black people have this bad, and it's becoming like a fucking pet peeve of mine. Every time somebody black speak up and speak up, I mean, I'm not saying what DL said about black women was right because he was wrong, but don't use that as a weapon against him in the midst of this battle. He was saying things that needed to be said. If Fox News want to discredit him, fine, but don't give them fuel to discredit him when he's speaking for us.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, what DL said in the past is wrong, and he does need to address that. But there's a time, if Dame came out and Dame was speaking on some stuff and regarding law enforcement, and there were cops are there, or blah, blah, blah. That ain't the time for me. Well, dang, remember that time you smoked that joint? Like, you don't do that. Hey, bro! Like, don't, look, these white folks are going to tell, they're going to look for whatever they look for on D.L. Hughley. Like I said, there's a time and place and everything. But if you have an issue with D.L. Hughley, bring that shit up before this.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
Don't wait till he's speaking for us. Which everything he said was 100% true, but then you're gonna chop him down. Look, the white man gonna do that anyway.
You know what it is? It's the we're talking about police brutality. What about black on black crime?
Yeah,
that's exactly.
Yeah, what I was gonna say prior was that he. Another thing is too, we're not. They want to bring up the issues he said about women, but. It's not like he's talking about, this is how y'all need to treat black women. Take this advice from me, right? I don't want to hear that from you, DL.
Hotel.
You know what I mean? No, I don't want to hear that from you because you obviously have a history of speaking down on black women or whatever these issues are.
But we're talking about this.
We're talking about something specific that he clearly has had experience with, talked to people about, seen, lit, all that stuff. He can speak on that from that standpoint. No, I'm not gonna, follow his how to, treat a black woman page, for that reason, but hey, these are voices that we need to hear.
I mean that's pretty much like Dr. King going, I've been to the mountaintop, and somebody was like, yeah, with that bitch you was with.
Yeah.
You did go to the mountaintop.
Yeah,
because you got holes. So it just juice that like come on, Dr. King be like, for real, bro?
And again, it's not like others. It's like us. You know what I mean? And that's the problem.
We constantly do. Look, like I said, they gonna look for like they gonna attack DL on his own. But when we are in this war, it's kind of one of those things. Like, look, you got a family member, and your family member in an argument. Hey, look, out in public, look, I got y'all back. I got all y'all back. Even you dead ass wrong, I got y'all back. But when we get in private, man, what the fuck were you doing?
Yeah.
But out there, the streets, in public, during the war, during the battle, I got your back all the way. Now, my issues with you.
Let's handle that behind closed doors.
Yeah, behind closed doors. But I'm not going to chop you down like, oh, well, you know
because you hear so many people say, well, I don't fuck with D.L. Hughley anyway for the shit he said about black women. I'm like, okay, I feel that, but is anything that he's saying right now correct? You know what I'm saying?
But it's like if you say or do something that's terrible, it negates everything you've ever said in life.
Or it goes to, if you said something 10 years ago, but you're a different person, like you're not, like obviously you're not allowed to grow to certain people.
Right.
Or you can't grow.
Right.
That's the same thing with like Chris Rock, when a lot of people gave him shit about the, I like black people, but I hate niggas joke. and he ended up apologizing about that later. But
I know exactly what you're saying.
but that
But yeah, why do you apologize?
but because a lot of
People didn't
because a lot of
understand.
people-
They were mad.
But the thing is, around one of the times that he was speaking out against a lot of shit and was hitting the nail on the head every time, people bought that shit up. So it's like, or fuck it, let's go back to this. If we're judging people about who they were or what they did or what they said years before what they're doing now, we wouldn't have never had a goddamn Malcolm X because he was a criminal as a young man, and then he grew up to be this amazing black leader.
Yeah.
But if he didn't have the opportunity to grow, or if people didn't hold his past against him, you know what I mean? Like it'd have been like, yeah,
you know
but
what? This is similar to I think you showed it, Dan, where somebody was like, T.I. don't speak for me because he talks about, like, you know, he's misogynistic and drug use and all this other shit. So they felt like that discredits everything that he's saying now.
Well, see, that's funny because let's go here. Jim Brown, he's been arrested several times for domestic violence against a black woman. Okay? Ray Lewis, what about black on black?
Murder.
You're part of that 2001 statistic of black on black crime. Steve Harvey, go ask his ex-wife how he treat black women. Okay? So I mean,
some of my homegirls.
yeah, for real.
no, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, so
Like in real life, not for play.
yeah, serious. So if we gonna discredit people for their track records, and then you're gonna tear down D.L. Hughley to justify those guys' behavior, well, hell, to me, Jim Brown domestic violence, Ray Lewis being a part of a damn
Murdering the motherfucker.
murder.
Well, this was my response to that. Like when the dude was like, "I don't want T.I. speaking for me because he rap about bitches and having sex and having affairs on his wife." I was just so Steve Harvey, who don't rap about it, who actually had other bitches and was having sex. He's like, "Oh well, when you put it like that," I'm like, "Yeah, like what the fuck are we talking about?"
Right,
Really?
and he really literally tried to like give women get dating advice. Like, I mean, that's the ironic thing. Like, you cheating, giving dating advice, you murdering, talking about black on black crime.
These the same people who never buy a cooking book from Jeffrey Dahmer.
Right. Yeah, so it's just
These eyes look
to me, it's just one of those things where, you know,
little lemongrass.
at some point we have to try to be united.
Yeah, we have to try to be and figure out who are the best voices to speak for us.
Right.
And you know, because
Dr.
So
Umar.
let me ask you this.
Man, no.
Dan, do you think
No nigga third person can speak for us.
do you think people like Steve Harvey, they should decline it and then suggest who he should be?
I don't think they should like for example, if I feel like I'm not qualified,
Right.
like say Steve Harvey called me right now and wanted to talk to me about foreign policy, I'm gonna accept it, and then I'm gonna call Colin Powell. Like, yo, come with me to this meeting with Trump.
Exactly.
He wanna talk to me about foreign policy. So that's what I would do. If I'm the voice, if I'm the conduit to get in there, like I'm the one that can get us in the door, cool. But when I get in the door, I'm gonna have the right tools.
And that I think would have definitely been more acceptable to people. Like, you know what? Hey, and I guarantee you, Trump, he probably would have been like, no, but at least you like, look, this is what I did. He offered, because I don't think he was wrong for not accepting it, because what can you do? You know, but to have somebody else go, that to me,
Like,
would,
yeah, that's what I would do.
or I would have said, look, I called up Colin Kaepernick. I wanted him to come with me, and he said, no, this is who I want. That's perfect. I think that's
like, okay, I'm gonna come, but I'm bringing Jesse Williams with me, so we're gonna talk about this, that, and the third.
Exactly, perfect.
So to me, that's what should happen, and that's what
That's
needs
way
to
more
happen.
respect for
Yeah.
Harvey. If he did something like that.
If Steve Harvey would have did that, I don't think
To
he
me,
would have
I
got no
would have
backlash.
had,
I don't think he would have got no backlash.
100%
And I think it would have got looked at different. It would because first of all, we already kind of feel leery of Steve because we feel like everything he kind of do is self-serving.
Right.
So you already have that distrust there off top.
I mean, even with a radio show, if Trump wanted to meet with me, I would make a Facebook post or let's say I'm like Steve Harvey, I have my own radio show. I would ask my viewers, call in and let me know what you want me to ask Donald Trump. What do you want from him? Because, you know, I'm basically going in there to speak up for you
It's
guys.
like what we did with Ask the Porn Star.
Yeah.
Right.
No, for real. real. He's like, hey, if
Yeah.
y'all can ask a porn star anything. So I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, Uncouth. Everybody watching Uncouth. I'm about to go meet with the president. If you can ask the president, I wouldn't probably even tell him I'm meeting with the president. I would say, if you can ask the president anything, what would you ask him?
Yeah.
And these are the things that will compile, like, okay, the most people talking about this, and this is the most specific need. Let's go in there and try to tackle this. Let's go in there and try to talk about that. Like, at least.
These are people's concerns.
Yeah.
And go from there. But it seemed like Steve Harvey, like, we found out afterwards, like, damn. No
Found out. Same thing with Kanye. You found out after and during the photo op. And I think that was strategic too. That was on purpose as well.
You know what it is? I just think like I have this thought of Trump going. Of Harvey going in there and just like, just agreeing with everything Trump is saying, and like you say, not challenging him to really change shit, and just going in there just.
Well, it was funny because to me he was saying like, "Oh, I went there and he was real sincere." I'm like,
You know what I'm saying?
but
Yeah.
I'm like, you do realize like 2 days ago he attacked John Lewis.
Right.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like we
Right.
can't because he talking nice to you. You can't delete all the fuck shit he's been doing.
He not that bad.
Yeah.
Well, see, I mean, look, I wasn't in there, but I'm going to assume that it went like this. Like, I have this program. I think it's going to be good. If I can help get this program in different inner cities, this amount of money I need. Trump, money is not really an issue. Okay, what you need? I need $10 million. Fine, got it. And that was pretty much it. Because the only thing Trump is going to say when things, I donated $10 million to help inner city black kids, blah, blah, blah. And that looked good on his resume, and that's it. Even though no policies, nothing, no laws changes.
Yes, nothing's actually been addressed to make real effect and real change.
And then Steve Harvey wins because he gets money that he don't have to spend from his bank account
for his Big Brother program.
For his Big Brother program.
Like I'm like, if Steve Harvey, like, yeah, he want to help with the inner city in the building. Why? Like, okay, you talking to Ben Carson about HUD? That shit sound crazy to me. Like, you're not even a real estate guy. You're not an investment mogul. Like, why? That's what I'm saying. So to me, it's just more qualified. So what y'all think about Chrisette Michele accepted today to sing at the inauguration?
Oh, she did. She did.
Well, first of all, she's irrelevant. Number two.
God.
Number two, the fact that she, like I was telling David on the way up here, she had hopped on the coon train last year by speaking out against people that wanted to boycott Black Friday or protest about certain stuff. So she's already been on some mammy type shit. Like, so she's already been tap dancing since last year. So with this, yeah, I mean, it's just par for course for an ignorant ass black person, which she is. And
do you think this gonna help or hurt?
It's going to hurt. Let me tell you what it's gonna do. Let me tell you exactly what it's gonna do. Because this is what's gonna happen. She think, I guarantee you, she's like, look, I'll take this check, but like I said, there's people that's thinking short term. She might get a nice check for doing this bullshit ass inauguration, right? She might get a nice. She'll probably get.
Do you think she think this gonna help her cross over?
She thinks that, but the thing is, one thing we've known is, no matter how cool, no matter how many boots you lick, at the end of the day, to racist white people, you're still a nigga.
Yeah, and then what's going to happen is her fan base is not going to be the same because I remember when Tank came out and said that mess about black women and light-skinned women, something like that. He never recovered from that. Nope. He never recovered from that. And when you don't know your fan base and you lose that little fan base that you have,
well, look at what Jennifer.
Speaking of not knowing your fan base, Jennifer Holiday was going to do it.
Well, did you watch the video?
I didn't watch it. I couldn't watch it.
That shit was so.
Okay, so basically, I watched that whole thing, and she was on The View, and she talked about how she didn't know it was political. She got so much backlash. She just was an American. She just didn't think that people would that it would affect her that much. And she's just like, I'm an American. I want to unite and be American. And so they were like, so where have you been for the past amount of time? Like, you don't know people hate the president-elect? Like,
Well, this is my thing, and I said,
wait, but you're gonna love this day
Oh,
specifically.
shit.
You're specifically gonna love this, especially.
Shit.
I wanted to say this tidbit just for you.
of course you did.
So the reason she backed out was because her lesbian, gay fans.
You see?
She said they wrote a letter and they were like, look, we've been your fans, we've been down for you, this isn't cool, da 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 da. And she was like, they've been my fans for all this time, I can't. And they used some words, some letter that she had written, and basically said, look, you said this, and if you perform, you're gonna be
Going against
your word. You're gonna be going against your law. She was like, they articulated it really well. She's like, and I just sent them an email. I'm not coming. I'm not gonna go.
Well, this is my thing. Again, one, I feel like maybe I can give Jennifer Holiday a pass because she's a little older. Maybe I say some senile kicked in, some crazy, you know, because it's hard to figure out how she's that out of touch.
Yeah.
Not that out of touch, bro.
Look, I'm trying to give her the benefit of the
But I'm gonna
doubt.
tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this.
The
So
money
for real.
probably a little short.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
And the check looks nice.
But for real, like looking at the video and listening to her words, I wasn't totally unconvinced that she wasn't in la la about it.
like you believe there probably was a real disconnect.
That it was some type of disconnect, but the deciding factor was money was a little short. I need to get some fans. America be America. I love America, because this is what she said. She also said, I thought I could unite people. So you knew that there was something going on.
Right, you know there's something
Right,
And-
exactly.
But she also said, she said, you know, I did it for Ronald Reagan.
Yeah,
I did it for
yeah,
the Clintons.
yeah.
I did it for
For
Obama.
Bush, yeah.
I did it for the Bushes and there. But I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
where the hell have you been?
Yeah,
But
that
she
so
said
I.
that she thought that we was over it.
Yeah, she said she thought people were over. So
Oh,
little things she
right.
said made it seem like,
In 2
hey,
months?
you know what?
And this is my thing. Of all people,
Yeah.
Jennifer Holiday, like her prime time audience is LGBTQ community, and you talking about singing for not just a president but a vice president who believes in gay therapy conversion and believes you can pray the gay away.
And that's what I'm saying. If you know what your biggest fan base is, why would you even accept or consider? So for me, I don't think she knew there was going to be that much of a backlash.
So
But just keep it real, honey. I haven't made an album in years. Money show.
This is
That
good look.
That check was looking good.
And you thinking that, but you're not thinking like, well, hey, all these things you named against these people,
It'll end your bread and
It will
butter.
end your
Like,
bread and
yeah,
butter.
you're thinking like, I need to get this pub, I can get on this check real quick. But also, yeah, but the thing that's been keeping you afloat all these years
you are totally
is going to
offended.
sing I Am Telling You for the gays and lesbians.
Exactly, and the thing about it, another thing too, is people are saying, okay, y'all turning these people down, y'all saying, are y'all gonna start supporting them? You know, are you like Chrisette Michelle? If she don't turn it down, you know, everybody gonna say they gonna start buying her albums, going to her concerts. Well, think about the fact that people are saying they're not gonna support her. They're not, because that's what happened. So you know.
Well, it's gonna mess up. Like I said, short term. I mean, to me, I think this is something that speaks towards another issue. I think that that we have as a people is that short term thinking. So short term, that check is gonna look nice in her bank account. Long term, this is going to hinder a lot of business that she might have to do with black people going forward. The people that whatever little fans she had left was still rolling with her.
Matter of fact, we saw her in concert at the Jazz Fest, and 95% of her audience was black.
Yeah.
Oh, but she threw the black people underneath the bus.
Yeah.
When she was at the Savoy, I heard she was like, y'all, like, it's like, what? She said some shit like, the fact that I'm down here in Inglewood, like.
Well, she's mad about, okay, you mad that you're not as big as you were. I don't know, but I know a lot of black people also were mad about her Love Jones performance, which, I was good.
The thing, and like Daniel said, white folks, as much as Ben Carson and the dude, look at the dude that ran in 2012, the pizza dude.
Oh, what's the dude name?
Oh god.
Herman came. Look, when it came down, as long as they was talking shit about Obama, they was rolling. But when it really came down to, are you gonna represent our party? They wasn't fucking with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know, yeah, their moves, they are very calculated. People, you know. But, okay, I think, at first I was going to say I was going to watch the inauguration because, you know, it was no point. Then I said, I'm going to watch it because I want to be entertained like these confirmation hearings, which confirmation hearings should not be as entertaining as they are. But then I realized I'm going to be in the air flying, so I can't watch it. So y'all got
I'm not watching that shit because I don't want to give support to Reagan. And you know what, and like Daniel, like you said, you feel like Chrisette thinks this is going to be a good look for her. It's not, though, because Trump's audience is the Ted Nugent audience.
Right.
The Ted Nugent audience is not going to give a shit about Chrisette Michelle.
Yeah.
The Ted Nugent crowd is going to be like, oh, who is this one?
Her
I
black
like this
is
nigga.
it's the black, like the black, like what I said.
This nigga.
The black people, that was her fan base, and she's gonna get a lot of backlash for it, but whatever.
Okay, so there's two things I want to talk about before we get out of here. One, so there was an article from a big, well-known black female matchmaker who sets people up. And in the article, I'll let Chan elaborate a little bit. She said black women might want to start looking towards dating bisexual men if they want to get married. And I want to get...
What was the logic? Was the logical behind that argument?
I think that... What's the logic behind the argument, Chan?
Oh, just that there's not that many eligible black men out there. In her mind, like it was like basically broaden your horizons. Because we all talk about the taboo of men being, quote unquote, you know, man is bisexual. Like, so because of that stigma, it's like, well, no, if this is a man who likes to date women, then, you know, you guys need to open that up too. Like, that was more the logic.
Yeah, Chan, open your mouth. He just took a little bit.
You mean little size or little like as
I don't know. I just said like, man, he only did it once or twice.
Look.
Oh, you telling me to open my mouth?
Chan, open your mouth. He only did it once or twice.
Chan.
Man, don't stop.
Chan.
Fine, Chan. A bisexual man.
Chan.
No.
Listen.
Yes.
Listen.
Yes. Listening.
This is 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Accept it.
Except what?
That you might have to... That,
They right.
That's
how we accept
except that you might have to
That
date...
he long.
You might have to date a bisexual man to get married.
Find a bisexual man.
I hate these jingles that are catchy.
Bisexual man.
I feel like one of the reasons I have an issue with it is because, number one, it's telling people that there aren't these eligible men out here that fit your criteria, whether or not it just be black, whether or not your standard, but whether or not your preference is black men, whether or not you want to date outside your race, whatever the case may be. It's basically telling us, hey, you can't get what your preference is, so you need to like open your eyes. And,
Like, God, is it that bad in Atlanta?
like, is it that bad in Atlanta? And it must
Obviously
be.
it is.
You know, so for me, my advice wouldn't have been, oh, date a bisexual man. My advice would have been, move from Atlanta.
All right. I mean, that's kind of what we got to do on that, right? That's all there.
Yeah, we all kind of agree on the post.
Because I don't think most women going to rock with that, right?
No, it's just, it's one
I
of
mean,
those.
a lot of women with bisexual men just don't know it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Which
the problem.
is a whole other
Damn low.
And that's a whole,
Yeah, that's a whole,
other problem.
it's a very big issue.
That's unfortunate. That's a big
That is
issue.
unfortunate, but I don't think
unfortunate.
to say that we should make that choice if that's not something that we like, then, you know, that shouldn't be a suggestion.
But what was the advantage of dating a bisexual man? Like, what was?
Well, you just opens the dating pool more. Because if you
That's
just
it?
yeah, because
That's it.
yeah, because if I'm just opening myself up to straight men only, then obviously I don't have as
She
many
missing
choices.
out on men who
I'm missing
identify
on
as bisexual.
men that are half straight.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nasty.
I might
I love
to a
that.
bisexual man. Like, it's
So-
so stupid.
Somebody had asked me to speak on this briefly too as well. And because of something she said, it was a friend of mine, she said she sees that it's rising in the black community, and this another one of those taboo things we have that's kind of not been addressed is the rise in suicide and suicide attempts from young black people, which is a lot of it is I don't know if y'all saw this, but a young lady, she wasn't black, but just to talk about it, a young lady committed suicide on her Facebook Live. She killed herself on Facebook Live because she was being bullied, being, shamed, body shamed and all that. So I kind of wanted to touch on that because I went and looked at the numbers, and it was very interesting because though we are still, like African Americans are still the lowest on the totem pole of suicides, our numbers are rising by the tens of thousands per year now. Like from 2010 to 2017, I think the numbers went up probably about 40 to 50,000. Like, the amount of people who committed suicide. This is what was interesting that I didn't know. 4 times more men, black men, than women attempt suicide.
I can see that.
4 times more men attempt. Now, no, I'm sorry. 4 times more women attempt.
No, that's believable.
Yeah, 4 times more women attempt, but 3 times more men succeed.
Yes, because with women, a lot of times it's all about
Attention.
the attention and the dramatics. With men, it's gonna be more calculated. Like I'm
I'm
going
really-
And it has a little bit to do with typically women's suicides are pill overdoses, and men they tend to do more with guns. So women, if they attempt, they get help before they actually expire.
I've dealt with this from a law enforcement perspective, and it was always interesting when I would hear attempt suicide. It's like James said, that when people who want to kill themselves,
They did it.
they did it. It wasn't a warning. It wasn't. So a lot of it is cry for attention, but it doesn't surprise me that a lot of black men commit suicide because
Between the ages of 25 and 34.
because I would say this, and this is just based on what I saw. A lot of times, it was gay black men.
Uh-huh.
And I think that we not as accepted to our children being gay to as other cultures. And I think that growing up in the church, like you see that I mean we crack jokes about it, but it's kind of sad that delivered. It's obviously that this boy is gay,
Andrew Caldwell.
and he feel like he have to put on this persona that he's straight, even
Because he's demonized
because he's being demonized
in the church.
and even when, and one thing I noticed with black parents, even when our kids are crying out for help at a young age, we're dealing with bullies and stuff, we take that as a shot as parents. Oh no, ain't nothing wrong with them, they just asking for attention. Well, sometimes you need to pay attention.
Yeah.
It need to be addressed.
Or for the simple fact, like you saying, like how it is with black people in just the culture, is the fact that, like you said, like if there is something like, if somebody is having issues, if somebody is crying out for help, you be considered crazy or soft.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So what happens, I think, especially between that age, you said 25 to 34, is the fact that I think that because there's so many angles that we are hit with as black people in this country, and speaking for this as far as black men, is the fact that we have to internalize so much shit because of the perception of what the outside would think if you have certain issues or
if you seek therapy.
or if you see therapy.
Like if you actually,
So it's like, so what happens is that, you be called a bitch or you be called soft. So all these things happen. So everything is internalized, and then one day when you're like, all right, nobody's taking this shit serious, nobody's listening.
yeah.
It just becomes too much for people to bear. So it's like we have to mental illness in the black community is Why is that such a taboo thing?
Well, yeah, we talked about it because it's a sign of weakness.
It's not just a sign of weakness, but it's a taboo thing in the black community because to address mental illness means for a lot of these families that praying those demons away didn't work. It means that praying for them to get healed didn't work. So you have so in order to get somebody to go seek therapy for actual help, because how many times have you seen somebody where something is really wrong and the family be like, oh, ain't nothing wrong with him, he's just crazy.
Junior just crazy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like how many and you know, we not to make fun of it and not to be funny, but we all know we have seen somebody who even probably was a little slow and their parents don't want to put them in special education classes because they don't want the embarrassment on the family of that child being deemed a special ed student. Like, so, and again, all of these things, like you said, Daniel, I feel like all of these things are a part of this mountain building, suicide rate rising and going up because you have the mental illness thing that's not been dealt with. You have a lot of the gay issue rising and not been dealt with, and you also have a lot of these young girls have been molested, not been dealt with
by their family members.
By family members, yeah, by family members.
And then the family, because they're in denial because they don't want to admit that Uncle Joseph is a molester. Everybody just want it's just gonna go away. But one thing I want to touch on, because you know, being a father share a lot of light on this for me as my oldest daughter got older, because she started to get teased that, you know, she had black, they call it nappy black hair, kids was teasing her that her lips was big, and she, you know, that was really a shot on her self-esteem.
Right.
And we just can write it off as, you know, you just have to stand up to them, because one thing these kids have to deal with that we never had to deal with when it came to humiliation.
Social media.
It's social media.
Yeah. That shit is online forever.
And that's why I stopped posting these fights, because imagine you getting beat up in junior high school and everybody post your fight on video and you got grown ass adults.
And millions of people watching.
It made me feel bad that girl, I forgot, Sharkeisha was bullying this girl fight, and think about it, you as a child seeing grown ass adults mocking you. And
she became a celebrity though.
That's what made it like. I mean, and
Sharkeisha, but not the girl who got fired on by Sharkeisha.
Yeah, not the girl that got beat up. But just think about that as a child. You're thinking adults are there to protect you from this type of stuff. But here are adults being the main ones sharing and teasing and mocking you,
right,
and thousands of people making fun of you getting beat up. And to me, that has a lot to do, because for some reason black people love fight videos. We love posting fight videos, and to me, that shit is humiliating for any kid.
Yeah, and the dumb shit. I swear, I wanna be it male or female. All these stupid fucking parents that want to discipline their kids and film. Like, you're doing way more damage. Like, you trying to get some fucking e-props from all these people. Like, that's right. Like, no, you're fucking damaging that kid.
Because that kid got to go to school and deal with people teasing them that they got their ass whooped.
It was a dude that, it was a case like that where a kid did commit suicide because he was getting teased from his uncle or somebody like that, like beating him up on camera and like, see, this is what you do. When you're like, no.
Now, let me say the difference. My mother beat my ass one time in front of my first grade class because I wouldn't stop talking. And I
think we all got close to or had one of those.
And that's way different. Like, that was embarrassing enough. But that's just amongst the kids.
Social media, and it goes away.
Right. You know what I mean? Like you say, but if these parents are posting it and it's getting reshared and reshared and reshared, and I'm glad you guys too talk about like mental health amongst people who like, because there's a stigma, like you say. Like, one of the best things I ever did was seek therapy for a year. I saw a psychologist, and it took me 3 years after my mother passed to do that, because I didn't want to admit that I had
You
a problem, that I needed help. I was lashing out, just doing things that were uncharacteristic for me, and I finally just had to come to terms with that, and it was the best thing that I ever did. And I mean, like you think about somebody like Lee Thompson Young, the actor, who out of nowhere, man, and you know, we kind of get to know each other in the industry, so I was shocked when I found out that he committed suicide.
Because like I know people that knew him was saying like you would have never known he was dealing with what he was dealing with.
That's true. You would have never known, and I guarantee, like, let's just say if I never sought help, and because I always have a friendly disposition and things like that, and then I went out and attempted something like that, it would be a shock to y'all.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, because it's all been internalized.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
And it's hard, like, you can't, like that, to have to deal with something like that and then not be able to express it, not to be able to seek help because of you're afraid of the backlash. That shit is torture.
Like, how many times have y'all known somebody like I've heard this before where I'm like, yo, they probably need to get, you probably need to see somebody for therapy for them, and then the parents are like, oh, that's some white shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like, oh, we ain't doing no therapy.
Or I don't have to pay no money for that bullshit.
I went through it. They gonna be all right.
Or even just the whole, they ain't gonna be putting my business in the streets aspect of it. Like, it's so much. And I want to say this before we get off the air. Just we need to do a better job taking care of each other.
Yes.
All of us to each other.
Yes.
You know what I mean? All of us to each other. We need to do a better job taking care of each other. If you see somebody who you know is having mental illness, don't let people make fun of them.
That part.
Try to help them. You know what I'm saying? If you see somebody in your family might be struggling with depression, because we like to call the black people in our family with depression moody.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, there's moody people, but then there's people who like, yo, they really like, they're sad all the time. Like, they're unhappy. Like, we don't believe depression is a real thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny because somebody had put up something about depression. Like, yo, sometimes, like, depression is a sign of your character. Depression is a sign of mental health. And the first response was, well, just because you're depressed don't mean you can treat people any kind of way. I'm like, why the fuck is that the first answer on this post?
You say what?
So they was like, the meme was like, depression is like, goes to your health, not your character. Like, if somebody's depressed, that don't mean they like a bad person. And the first comment was, well, just because you depressed don't mean you get to treat people any kind of way. I was like, that was the weirdest shit to be the first comment.
Depression is a lot more normal than we think. Like, psychologically, it's a morph between, it's a period of time that you can morph between depression and sadness.
And somebody don't even realize it.
Normal sadness could last a few days, but usually about 3 days. But and I'm not just saying that just to throw it out there, like I've done research on it. And so you could be sad about something. You could be sad about an event. You could be, and it can continue more. But if it's something that's overtaking your life, or I'm going to tell you guys this, I went through depression and I didn't realize that I was going through it until I was like out of it. Then I realized like, wow, I was depressed, and it was like for a year. I wasn't doing anything crazy. I was just not myself.
Yeah.
And it took me to be out of the depression to realize I was in the depression. And I had to go through a lot of like self-growth and like just really knowing myself, knowing my moods, knowing my behavior. Like, I don't want to say
how many people are really that self-aware?
And how many people are really that self-aware? And the reason I think more so is because I was around people who were kind of going through the same thing. And you know what? It's funny you mentioned the 25 to 30 type, 35 age, because that's kind of when you start knowing and becoming who you are. So now, maybe I might be gay. Maybe I don't accept myself. So you're becoming more self-aware, and maybe that's something that's depressing you, or maybe that's something that's making you feel suicidal. So that age is really the time where you are growing and becoming more self-aware, and either you can accept it or you can't.
Yeah.
So that's why it's an interesting correlation, that age, because...
Absolutely.
And then also, during that age, we also put a lot of...
expectations
and timelines on where we want to be at a certain age. So we like,
How many times have you heard, I'm about to be 30 and I ain't even
How many
married?
times
I'm
have
about
I
to be
said
30
it? How many
I ain't
times
got
have
my
I said
house.
it? How many
I'm
times have
about
I
to be
said
30.
it?
And so 30 comes and you're not married, you don't have your own house. Then you start thinking, I'm a failure, I failed in life. And then it just
compounds.
and compounds. And next thing you know, because I know for me, I definitely slipped into depression after my deal with law enforcement, because I was like, I did everything I was supposed to do. How I'm back living with my mom? Like I went to school, I had a career. Like, how did I end up here? I was supposed to be married, picking fences, wife, and I'm nowhere near that. Like, why?
And that's hard. Here? That's a hard reality for some people.
And especially for a man, because you're constantly told, well, if you're a man and you're living with your mama at this age, you're this. If you're a man and you got kids and you have this type of job, you're this. So that stuff that tend to start adding up, and you're like, you're shrinking a little bit at a time, but like Dame said, like, we need to start taking care of one another, because that's when I met Chandra during that time, and it was pretty much a lot of people, for some
reason, it was like 6 or 7 of us, and we were all going through we didn't realize it until we came out of it.
Yeah.
It was so crazy, but we were all kind of like there for each other.
People was coming out of failed marriages and
career changes, just different places in life, just exactly what you said. But we were we became like a string. We really did.
Like a support group.
And we really didn't one day we talked about it. We were like, oh yeah, like we were all depressed. Like we realized, like, because we were looking at characteristics and behavior and different things that we would do, but we pulled through it. And we know, we recognize, but like you said, how many people are that self-aware?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like sometimes you don't, like I think, but like you said, between the sadness and depression, like it's a very, very thin line.
It's a very thin line.
Because I was like, my dog died on Christmas Eve. Yeah. So for about 4 days, I was depressed.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
I was just laying in bed. And the only thing that kind of got me even out of it and like past that phase is because I had to start going rehearsals for the New Year's Eve show. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I was going to be around people. So, and I had to work. But it was just, it was that fast to where it was like, I'm depressed.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean?
certain events can cause us to be depressed, and I think for us it was more like a compound over time type thing, because we're different pile up. But like you said, in your example, between depression and sadness, knowing that you had to go to work and knowing that you had to do those things, that was enough to move you. Mm-hmm. When you're depressed, nothing moves you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. One thing I've learned is that you have to be proactive when dealing with depression. That's how we started hiking.
Yeah.
Because I was depressed, and I just started driving. I went out in Palos Verde, and I just started walking along the ocean, and I found a trail. I'm like, whoa, this is kind of relaxing. So after that, I told Chandler, I said, look, I'm gonna start hiking, because I started hiking. And
we were driving and going to the beach a lot.
Yeah, and I was like, this is actually relaxing.
And
so, go ahead, Bernie.
I was gonna say, I mean, I applaud you guys, man. And for me, it was like you said, Chan, like obviously anybody who's a parent gonna be sad. Mm-hmm. But like I noticed, Chan, for me, I was sad too much, and like you said, it became beyond being sad. It was like I thought, like, for me, I noticed it when I would just start crying, like for no reason, or seemingly for no reason.
Right.
I would just start crying, and here's the thing. So I want people to know, like, when people know about like your business being on it. First of all, there's patient doctor confidentiality. You don't have to worry about that. But two, I found it better that I could talk to a stranger who was unbiased, didn't know me from Hill of Beans, and because a lot of people, when I first even came to grips with it, they were like, "Well, why don't you talk to a pastor?" And it was usually someone like I knew or something,
Right.
But I was like, I don't need that, I don't want someone who knows me but don't really know what I'm going through and da da da. So I just had to seek professional help, and like I said, it was literally one of the best things I ever did.
You know, and I think that's a big step to take too. And I don't know, it's something about talking to strangers that's therapeutic. We get it all the time in Uber. Like, I mean, I swear, you become like a psychologist. And sometimes people snap out like, I don't even know why I was telling you all this, but you know what? Thank you for listening. Like, and sometimes you just listen and drop, and I get it. I understand that, you know, but it's a step to do that, and it's smart knowing that you need that help, or that knowing whatever the therapy might be.
Right.
Because, like I said, looking back, we were we were going through our own therapy.
And I'll tell you what, just looking at my timeline, there's a lot of depressed people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like
You might think you covering it up, but it's obvious. I can tell when somebody's going through something just based how they posting. And those are the type of things that every now and then you got to check in. Hey, how you doing? What's going on?
Yeah.
Because we just can't just think, well, you know what? Cause you know our grandmothers and mothers, well, you know what? They got this tough training of you can't come off weak.
Well, because and you know, and that goes back to, you know, which brings me to this great segue. I was watching Hidden Figures. I went to go see Hidden Figures. Fucking incredible film. Like, first of all, if you're a black person, go see it. You will be inspired.
If you're a black woman,
But if you're a black woman, you're a black woman. You gonna walk out that shit feel like you can do anything.
Right.
You literally watch some black women in the fucking worst time ever, put some people in space.
In NASA.
In NASA, we're needed. You know what I mean? So, but that comes from being brought up to be able to survive a certain way in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of was brought down to us. Mm-hmm. So now, like, it was almost like we didn't get the luxury of addressing mental health, because it's like, well, y'all know, once we get out in that world, it's this way.
Mm-hmm.
So this how we gotta behave in order to survive.
Absolutely.
We can't let the people see us cry.
Absolutely.
We can't let the people see us be emotional.
Absolutely.
So then you think, that's not far removed from us. That's our grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
This is our grandparents who went through that. So in turn, this is how our grandparents taught our parents. You gotta be strong. Don't let nobody see you in pain. Because
never let them see you cry.
Never let them see you cry. Because that wasn't about family. That was about race.
Yeah.
It was about, yo, we gotta be stronger. Because we in the civil rights.
We had
to endure.
Right.
So it's like we in the civil. So almost that teaching of going through that civil rights was taught to our parents. Mm-hmm. So then our parents brought it down to our generation, where it was like, don't be soft. The hypermasculinity, because like a lot of hypermasculinity, that don't come from homophobia. Hypermasculinity come from black men who had their manhood stripped from them in front of people all the time, like the cops and KKK. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like that's where the hypermasculinity really kind of began.
Absolutely.
Because you had to be an overman, because this white man is gonna slap you in your face in front of your wife.
Kids.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like these are things that people think just went away with the civil rights movement. They think just went away with
this
fake social equality. It has a different face. So we are faced with this place now where we're addressing things, like we're the first generation that gets to freely talk about this. We're the first generation that literally gets to address mental health without looking weak, without it being deemed weak, without it being, you know what I mean? Like, we the first generation that get to do this. So it's very important that we have these discussions, but also very important that we understand why we are here. Like, not blame our parents or not blame those before us, because, you know, there was a rhyme and a reason to why
they didn't know
they were the way they were.
Yeah.
And they didn't have access to therapy and shit either.
Exactly.
You think about it, what black person in the 60s can say, I'm going through something, I need to go to therapy.
Yeah.
They don't even have the luxury.
I mean, even just going back to the movie and just a specific scene, you know, with the whole restroom thing. Like, she had this issue with the restroom. She couldn't use the restroom, so she had to go a half a mile every day. Anytime she had to go to the restroom, she had to go a half a mile. What did she do? She just did it. She never said anything until the guy was like, what's going on? Where do you disappear from? So, again, I'm dealing with these little issues that I'm now like, you know what? I'm going to figure it out. And that's how we become. And it does get to the point where, yes, we do need to use our resources, and we need to become resources.
But
go ahead.
And for the fact that the crazy thing is, most of the stuff that we're talking about that we do as far as dealing with stuff, the crazy thing is, it's not anything that we like, because everybody wasn't taught it. But they said genetically genetically that stuff is passed down, like same way, like, you know how
certain anxieties.
or like we suffer from PTSD from slavery.
Yeah.
You know, like 'cause it's all of those feelings and all those things, like the shit is passed down genetically. So that's like, you know, it was certain things that, you know, that we did or I did growing up that it wasn't necessarily anything that our parents taught us. It was literally like it was just in us.
Yeah, it was innate.
Yeah, it was like it was just there. So the thing with that is like definitely there needs to be one, you know, and there's also this going back to the black churches, stuff like that. We have to stop saying when every time somebody has a problem, if it comes to like prayer is not the answer to everything, right. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And these are stuff like this is the type of stuff that needs to be addressed and talked about in the churches. The same thing with a lot of these young girls that's getting pregnant because they're not getting
the education.
They're not getting the proper education that they need to be getting. So it's like they say the church, you know, church is supposed to be the hospital. Well, talk about these things. You know what I mean? Like have some type of meetings to where, you know, people can come and they can talk about their issues, or bring in a professional psychiatrist or therapist, you know, and people can have like this is like that's where the stuff needs to be happening because
I mean, because you can have a Christian psychologist on staff, like you can have somebody who believes in the faith and who has a degree. Because we know a lot of people like that who can go in and still help.
And like to piggyback off of what Dan says, like why not pray like that they seek help? Like you said, why does it have to be pray out of them? Pray. I pray you get the depression out of you and leave it at that. You know, like you say, pray that they seek help.
Yeah, I'm saying like
help,
it should be things in place for people.
Exactly.
It takes prayer in action.
Right.
You know,
right.
I mean, who's to say that you can't pray and then God leads you to a therapist?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
You know, I mean, the reason why God put that therapist, I mean, the reason you praying, there's a reason why God put that therapist in your heart for you to call.
Right.
So
and like you said, like so it's the thing like there has to be like because you know I went to the church aspect because that's where a lot of black people go for therapy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like that should be the place where they should get all of the stuff that they really need because that's their for them that's their comfort.
Yeah, I think you can have faith-based therapy. Yeah. Like I think you can still have like you know Bible like because they do it before you get married. They have marriage counseling. You only get 2 or 3 sessions, but before you get married, they do a 2 or 3 session marriage counseling. I think you can do those same type of counseling sessions, and you want to involve the Bible, but also involve clinical stuff because you might need some clinical help as well too. You know what I mean? Like I think it can all like I don't think it always has to be one against the other or one without the other. I think they can work together. Like like he said, like Quincy said, your faith can lead you to say, I need a therapist, and then you should be able to utilize your church to help you get the help you need. And the crazy thing is, like, you think about it, a lot of AA is in churches. Right. Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, they in church. Yeah. And so that's something faith-based, and that's a form of therapy, if people want to believe it or not. Right. That's a form of therapy and support, a support group. So I think it should be the same thing if somebody is bipolar. You don't want to say that in front of the congregation while they praying. I found this brother, I think he's bipolar. Like, you don't want that to happen, but you might want to talk to your pastor after and be like, yo, I've been diagnosed bipolar, and I think I need help. I need prayer to help me deal with this, but I also, I just need help with this, with what I'm going through. I think it should all work together because we do. Again, it goes back to what I said. We need to just take better care of each other. I was just going to say,
just go back to what you said about, like, if someone comes to you and says, I'm thinking about seeking therapy, support that. Don't, don't shun it because it doesn't, like you say, cute, and then don't because it doesn't support, like, everything that we've been taught to pray away in church and things like that. Support that brother or sister that said, hey, I'm thinking about seeking professional help.
and to get back to Dame's statistic about black men, suicide rate being so high. Another thing that I feel contribute to that is that, and I've said this before, we don't support each other like women do. Especially, and as much as we all joke and write, put memes about it and joke about it, especially when it comes to heartbreak.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of wild stuff dudes did after broken hearts. Because men tend to not be too tapped in to deal with emotional heartbreak.
That's true. Yeah.
Emotion,
period.
I mean, I would say this, in a lot of cases, we were lucky when the dude just killed himself.
Yeah. Yeah, because you see a lot of those, he killed his whole family and he shot himself. Or like the actor dude from The Shield, the cause wife cheating, he killed the wife.
No, he killed her in front of the kids.
Killed her in front of the kids, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've seen guys do it where, a friend got a divorce, he's heartbroken. Oh man, let's go out and get some more bitches. And that's not the way to talk about it.
Yeah.
Not, this man is hurt, just lost his family.
We can do that, but let's talk about it first. Let's stop at Denny's for like 30 minutes.
We said we can do that.
Hey, stop crying, bitch, nigga. Let's go get some bitches.
Oh man, you crying over that bitch? I invested 9 years. Right.
Like, of course I am.
Hurt.
I'm sad.
And we make it not okay for us to be heartbroken. Because the thing about it, outside of death, a heartbreak in the relationship is like the next worst thing.
Yeah.
So the way how we deal with that, especially black men, we had this attitude that you don't cry over no chick, you don't get hurt over no chick, you better not be a punk, you better move on to the next bitch. And that's not always the case, because dudes be hurt.
Yeah. Even though they be in clubs, smiling, drinking, laughing, trying to pretend they good, niggas don't be good.
They gonna go home and
niggas
cry.
be smiling, they turn, when you see they turn to the side, like, shit.
They cry.
Like, do they realize after I leave here, I can't go home?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, I mean,
This shit feel good while we strip club right now. They give me running out of dollars. You start real life start get your ass again.
When everybody gotta go home and you see that look on his face,
yeah.
Or he was like, and that's
and
why.
And the worst is, nigga, you can't come to my house. My girl gonna be tripping.
Yeah. And I'm only speaking from experience. And so, I lost everything all in one hit. Job, family, everything all in one hit. So that's why now I tend to if a homie call me, so I've had guys call me crying 2 o'clock in the morning. Dude, I lost my woman, blah, blah, blah. And the study's man, don't call me crying by no bitch 2 o'clock in the morning. I was all right, dude, that's it. Let's go to Denny's and talk about it. Because this dude was really hurt. He was going through it. And that's something we, as black men, we have, because he can't, you don't want to go to your homegirl for that. You want to talk to another dude about that, because females don't deal with heartbreak the same. So only another man can assist you into that, Q, how did you get over it, blah, blah, blah. And the study just, okay, I tried to just go fuck different females. But after you get done fucking, you're going to be hurt. You're going to think about it again. You can't fuck the pain away. I'll tell you that right now. So a lot of dudes start drinking real bad.
Mm-hmm.
That only adds to the depression. So
it numbs it just a little bit.
It just
dim it, and then it come cutting right back to it.
So that's something we just really, because like I said, I've seen it. We were lucky when dude just killed his stuff. We looked at that. Anytime there was a suicide note and it was a heartbreak deal, we was like, whoa. Okay.
So fellas, do a better job of taking care of each other in that arena. But and also in this real, because we've had these discussions. I think it's good that I'm starting to see more men feeling like they're open and able to have emotional conversations with each other without been looking without getting joked on or shot on, or man, shut your ass up with that crying shit. You know what I'm saying? Now we can have real conversations, and I hope that these dialogues open them more. Somebody had a question for you, Brandon. They said the speaker who said he was able to seek professional help for his depression. Did you have someone in your circle that helped you recognize you needed help? Because many suffer from depression secretly, or was it something you recognized yourself?
No, that's a great question. I knew something was up. I knew that for me, I was doing stuff uncharacteristic, and I was just like Chan said, it wasn't. It was beyond just being sad, and there was really no activity that made me happy. And it was, if it did, it was a temporary fix. You know, I would go out with my family and enjoy the time. But one thing that I realized is that while I was in the moment, having a good time, I was looking forward to going home, being by myself.
Right.
And that was wrong. Like, I was looking forward going home and being like just alone and isolated. You know what I mean? And thankfully though, it was that coupled with my aunt, who was extremely close to my mother, who suggested it. And so I had a support system in that regard.
Yeah.
When my family found out that I didn't tell nobody for like 3-4 months. I was just go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and come back. Where you been? Oh, I just had to run an errand. But when they found out, they all applauded it and they were happy. And then the people that were closest to me, they would always ask for like updates. How you doing? And then they would notice a change in me. So that goes with what you said, Dame. Like, I had that support, and we need more of that. And the discussion like this definitely will help, bro. So.
Yeah, so man, make sure y'all just look out for your people, check on your friends, check on your family, just check in with people, because like you say, sometimes you never know. Like, I had somebody who I hit up randomly because I just felt like something was off with them. So I hit them up like, yo, you good? And they were like, yo, it's so crazy that you hit me because I'm not. And I wanted to call you, but I didn't want to burden you with my shit. I'm like, nah, but I'm so glad I talked to them because I'm like, ain't no telling what would happen had I not had that conversation. You know what I mean? Like, and so, like, some people, if you get a text from me or inbox out the blue, that's probably why. Like, I'll be like, hey, yo, you all right? You
and
good?
I wanted, honestly, then, even on a smaller level, when I told you last week I was going through something, your first question was, you good, bro? What's up? You know what I mean? Something as simple as that. You know what I mean? So that's, just big of you to even, and I was appreciative of that. I was like, thanks for asking, bro.
Well, because I feel like we have to do a better job because I'm actively trying to be better with people, and I can't preach it if I'm not trying to do it. You know what I mean? So as much as I can, because I will fuss at you too. Right. As much as I fuss at people, tell you when you fucking up, when you wrong. Like I want to be there when you need that person to talk to, because sometimes people just want to talk like some people are just overwhelmed and don't even have an outlet, just to say I'm overwhelmed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sometimes people just want to say, like, they don't need to do nothing. They don't need you to even say nothing. Like, I had sometimes where people just will talk for 45 minutes. I didn't say shit. And they be like, whew, thanks.
That's all they needed.
I didn't say nothing, but that's all. They didn't get a chance to let off. They didn't get they don't have that space to vent because, like Daniel said, we always trying to be strong. We always, if you're the strong one in your family, you take on everybody bullshit. So since you're the strong one in your family, taking on everybody bullshit, you can't talk to nobody in your family telling them you having a moment of weakness because they're like, well, nigga, we depend on you to be our, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's just having lending that ear to somebody. Sometimes it's just letting people know they not by themselves. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes just let people know, like, yo, I'm here. Because some people will feel lonely. And you don't even know it. Like, people feel lonely, and when you just like, hey, I miss you, and they're like, oh, shit, that could change their whole disposition, because they're like, oh, I didn't think nobody cared. Because a lot of people get in that space, in that moment, where they're like, oh, I didn't think nobody cared.
And please stop equating, they equate material stuff and what we see with why somebody shouldn't be depressed. They
got shit, yeah.
Like with Lee Thompson Young, they're like, he on a hit TV show, and he got money. Same thing with when Robert Williams committed suicide. Like, how could he got 50 million reasons why he should.
Kanye, man.
Yeah, right.
I hope he seeks help. I like Kanye seeks help.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's not a coincidence. He lost his mom. Dude haven't been the same.
Yep.
Yeah. He haven't been the same.
I don't think he's ever addressed.
Yeah, I don't think he's
like his best friend. Like they were.
And he got money, he can buy it all, he got the chick he always wanted, blah, 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 and
goddamn thing.
And still.
Man, if you listen to 808 and Heartbreaks, I'm talking about really sit down and listen to 808 and Heartbreaks, you hear that man.
I love that album, bro.
And that was the album that she passed, and I feel like even musically he ain't been the same since that album.
I love that album.
Me too.
A lot of my friends don't like it.
You know what? I didn't like it sonically at first, but when I really listened to it and heard what he was saying, and I'm like, oh, this dude really pouring his heart out right now, nobody listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we was waiting for that beat. We was waiting for that gold digger. We were waiting for that flashing lights. And I'm like, yo, this nigga is really like going through some shit. Like, I hope y'all hear what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, again, like, you know, before we about to get out here, it's 8:45. We went over a little bit, but we did start a little late because I thought we was on and we wasn't. We gonna, I want to thank everybody for watching. And again, everybody who's sharing, please, thank you so much. But share the show. Every time you see us live, please share to your page as well. You know, we want to get more people watching. We want to get this thing. We want to have these conversations that, because a lot of people always say in our comments, oh, we so glad y'all talking about this. We so glad y'all having these conversations. We want to spark these conversations in your household. We want to spark these conversations in your circle. We want you to be able to approach these conversations, because sometimes people watch the show and be like, oh, I didn't know how to approach the conversation, but now that y'all said A, B, and C, I can do that. So again, after the show is off tonight, when it goes on, please share the show on your page so people know what we're doing. We're here on Wednesdays, but you can share throughout the week. And even when we're on live, please share the show when we're on live so people can comment, because I love when y'all in the comments and y'all active and y'all giving us stuff to do. Next week, we're going to have the first 48 episodes. I'm bringing in a defense lawyer to come talk to us about all the mistakes niggas make when they on first 48. Jill Carter Melton is coming in. We're going to talk about some law shit next week. So get y'all questions prepared for a defense attorney and just an attorney in general. So, yeah, we'll be here talking about that. Man, I want to thank Miss Tanya for coming through and helping Jamila out. Jamila is always here, Miss O'Neill. We really appreciate y'all and everything y'all do for the show. Little DJ Quick.
Give it to me.
Mixing the music. My co-host, man, Jackie Chandra, Q the Rebel. Damn Daniel, we gonna miss him. He gonna be gone for a little bit. He's on his way out of town. You know, he be leaving us and shit now. He's nigga too good. Why the first thing black people go to, nigga too good? Like this, you just gotta be
right. Oh, so you trying to get on the airplane now, huh?
Yeah, nigga too good.
Shit, huh? Because I'm getting on a plane?
And then my boy Mr. Hammond, not to be confused with Fred. We got a lot to do, man. We got a lot going on. We thank y'all. We appreciate y'all. Get ready to send us y'all questions and stuff for Ask a Lawyer. I'll put that post up. Friday, I don't know if we're at the Green Olive yet, so I will post on my Instagram. I doubt it though, because I think
don't be there, because I can't come.
Don't be there, because you can't come. You so damn selfish. You're so damn selfish.
I'm sorry, but it's for a funeral.
You just made me feel bad.
I just told you that.
Yeah, you should have started with that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Like, I'm over here talking shit.
No, I won't be there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a safe trip.
Yeah, have a safe trip. Have a great trip. When you be back? Will you be back next Wednesday?
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
coming back
cool.
on Monday.
Okay, cool. So, we'll be back. The panel will be back, and we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good show. Hey, man, Uncouth Radio got some good things, some good dope things coming up. Shout out to everybody who showed up to Uncouth Bowling Night. It was a great night. We had fun. We got to meet some of our listeners, some of the people in the Uncouth group. We got to just meet, talk, chill, vibe, and, we had a ball, man. We want to thank y'all. We'll see y'all next week, and we out here.